Good evening. I'd like to call the order for our City of Waterville City Council meeting for Monday, December the 8th, 2025 to order. And first up is the prayer, and I ask Councilmember John Rosick to lead us in the prayer.
Thank you, Mayor. Loving God, as we come together tonight for the City of Waterville, we pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom.
Amen. Amen. And I'd ask Councilmember Anthony Bruno to lead us in the pledge. Thank you, and I'd ask our clerk to recite roll call.
100%. Here.
Mr. Browski.
Here.
Mr. Fry.
Here.
Mayor Pedro.
Here.
Mr. Wagner.
Here.
Mr. Rosick.
Here.
Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Good. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our regular council meeting, which was Monday, November the 24th. I need a motion, November 24th, 2025. I need a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved, Anthony Bruno. Need a second?
Second.
Second, John Rosick. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? All right, motion passes. Next is some citizens' comments. And before we get started, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and thanks for being here today. It certainly is chilly outside, so I'm glad that everyone got a chance to come in and be able to participate in our meeting tonight. First on the citizens' comments is Terry Masucci. Terry? Somebody's got to go first.
They said your name right. Tim, how many do we get? We got a lot.
4, 5.
Hello, Terry Masucci, 1101 Waterville, Mount Clover Road, Waterville, 43566. I'm not the Grinch that the city police department is looking for, but I want to just give a big shout out to the community. You guys have been great with our first toy drive and being against White House. This has gone awesome. So I appreciate all the videos, the time taken to go out and collect them. And I wanted to let you know, the initial date was December 8th. We extended it to the 10th. So there's 2 days to still collect and bring in some toys. Drop them off at the police station, even the fire station. And I wanted to give a shout out to some of the companies that are in Waterville that went on their own and did their own internal collection of toys besides just the residents and citizens. We have the YMCA, Tano's Pizza, The Collective, GSI, MADS, AutoZone, Blue Sky, F&M, Farmers and Merchants, First Federal, Subway, and O'Reilly's and Waterville Body Works. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But thank you. I don't know what the numbers are between us going on, but we have collected a lot of toys that'll be distributed through the neighborhood bridges, Anthony Wayne, so they're staying local. And I'm just really happy that so many people have contributed to doing this. Am I missing anything?
Terry, just repeat the date is December the 10th?
December the 10th is the deadline. So you got till Wednesday. Is there a deadline like midnight Wednesday, 5 o'clock Wednesday? Okay, so let's everybody be generous. Do your best to help out if you can, even if it's a toy from the Dollar Tree. Doesn't matter. One toy is all it takes to make a kid smile and have something under their tree. So thank you again.
Terry, if I may, I talked to a couple folks that were maybe just finding out about this, but they also wondered gift cards because we got some older kids, maybe teenagers, that maybe a toy isn't quite what they're looking for. So gift cards are accepted as well?
Absolutely, gift cards are acceptable. I think that's wonderful because we forget that the teenagers would love a gift card, you know, you can pick them up at Kroger for Target or something of that, Dick's Sporting Goods. There's just a plethora of different cards you can get at any of the, well, Kroger is the one I get them from, because then you can get points. So it's a win-win. Can't beat that. So yes, grab some gift cards. Thank you again. Any other?
Council? All right, thank you, Terry.
All right, thank you.
I also want to thank the police department, fire department, public works. I know they've all been participating in this, and it's,
She's back.
Thank you, all your council members, the City of Waterville Police. Go get that Grinch. The City of Waterville Fire Department and Public Works as well. Thank you.
I'll just close by saying we've got some creative folks that work in this city and in White House. Joe's on the video doing a tape, the police chief out in White House, even the mayor, Rich Bingham. Anyways, what I'm saying is it's a fun time, and it's a great cause for our community. All right, next is our next citizen, Lisa Haberstock.
Jeffers.
Lisa Weber, you're next. Just grab that microphone and whip it down by, there you go.
Is that okay?
You can just pull it down if you want.
Slide it right down.
Like
There you
that?
go. That's
Can you hear
good.
me?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm Lisa Haberstuck. I live at 222 North Fifth Street. And I just have a couple things here. Hold on. Okay. I've heard a lot of different things, obviously, about the data centers. I've heard that it's gonna happen. It's okay. It's not gonna happen in Waterville because there's not enough land, but it's going to happen. So I have a few questions. So first of all, Waterville, I think we all can agree, our area is considered really a leader in the area. I think the townships look at us as a leader. I think the other you know what I'm trying to say. The other cities around here look at us as leaders. Thank you. And I guess what I want to say today is I would like all of them to want to share in our success. We are a community of residents, and we want you as our leaders to lead. We want you to lead in this process. So, with that being said, we want transparency. We want to be able to trust you, and we want to be able to trust when you give us a promise that you're here to look out for us and our community. We want you to preserve what we have here in Waterville. We are asking you for this moratorium. I've heard we don't really need it because we don't have enough land, but we're asking you so you can do your due diligence and we as a community can do our due diligence in understanding the pros and the cons of data centers. We all need to do our homework. Now I have a couple of questions. When I was at the Waterville zoning meeting, Waterville Township zoning meeting last week, both Mayor Pedro was there and Mary Duncan were there. And I had conversations with you. You were both in attendance. My first question, has anyone on council approached any individuals about purchasing land in Waterville Township? Has anyone approached Waterville Township residents to purchase for the city?
You mean council members?
Yeah, council, if it's been, no, okay, well, these are my questions.
Yeah,
so you
no,
can,
that's fine.
You can answer.
I'll answer.
Because I've heard that Waterville does not have enough property for a database. However, annexation, we have annexation. So I'm just wondering if anybody here has actually talked, even just talked in general about with residents in the township.
You want us to answer that?
Okay, we can answer it now and then I'll go on, yeah.
Well, I'll probably forget if you don't answer
Oh, okay.
it now. Mary already answered. John Rosick? Wayne?
No conversations.
Wayne, speak to the mic, please.
No, I haven't had any conversations.
Okay.
No.
Nope.
No.
No? Okay. After the meeting was over, I know that, Mary, you and I were talking with one of the trustees, and you said that, Waterville doesn't have to have a moratorium, you didn't feel, because there wasn't enough land. And I I really do believe that the townships will follow your lead if you put a moratorium so we can slow this process and learn. I know you're shaking your head again because you don't believe
They
it.
don't listen to us, but that's okay.
But they do.
They don't. They have not.
Okay, well, I go to these meetings.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And that actually wasn't a zoning meeting. That was a meeting of the trustees to vote on
Zoning.
a zone,
Right.
on changing a zone.
Okay, then I misspoke what kind of a meeting it was.
That's
But
okay.
yes, it was for zoning. So then you're saying that no one's approached anybody. Also, I think it's ironic, I was told, what would we do if we were told we couldn't sell our property for something, if we had property and we wanted to sell it? Well, and I think it's ironic because yet we're told that if a data center comes in this area, it really won't affect us too much, even though there's light pollution, air pollution, water pollution, all of these things. I don't really have a say if it's 100 feet from a property line, if it's set up the way I believe it's currently set up. And again, I could be wrong, but I really think if it's okay for you to say, would you sell your property, and be upset if somebody told you you couldn't, I feel the same way about my property if somebody's saying, well, you know what, we're still looking at the databases. All we need you to do is give us the time to look at the pros and the cons. We just need the time for the council, for our community. Once again, our community is just getting all riled up. If we know that we can trust you and transparency, I think we'd all sleep better at night. And I've got one more comment. So I know that several people have put in letters for council, to be council members. And I know there's rules on all of this, but I'm just throwing this out there. I do think that perhaps when you as a council have gone through and sort of picked your people or have an idea of what you'd like to do, I don't understand why we couldn't have a council of residents to kind of come up with it. So we can kind of have a vote, or not a vote, but have an opinion on this. Again, transparency for our council. I'm sure there's rules, but I'm throwing that out there, that it might not be a bad idea to try to get more of your residents involved.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you want to?
I was gonna, yeah.
Speaking of,
So Lisa,
Yeah.
you know, one of the questions I asked some of the people that applied for the last seat was why they didn't run. And aside from it being in our charter that we, you know, that they don't have to run, I think they were kind of afraid, being how it was on the last election and how everyone came at us. They were afraid to run and put their family through that. So my only concern with doing that would be we're putting their names out there so the citizens can go through there and start posting a bunch of negative stuff on all of these people. So that's the biggest concern.
It's also not in the charter that way. We have to follow the charter, and unfortunately, the
course.
charter doesn't work that way, you know? I mean, I understand why you'd want to do it.
I hope it's a fair balance then, the
Well-
individuals that we have.
We were all elected. I was most recently elected, and that means that some citizens in this town do trust my judgment, right? So, trust our judgment. We will look at all the applicants very carefully, we always do, and we'll interview probably the top 3 or 4, and their answers really help drive what happens.
Lisa, I'll close by saying that's a good comment. I'm not saying we can do it, but I did mention the last couple meetings, I think there's 10 candidates. 2 of them are going to get elected, or selected rather, and 8 aren't. I'm asking all the others that don't get elected or selected to get on a committee. That's how you get to know the business of the city. Lisa Weber did that. We thank her for the land use plan. Many of you may have sat on other committees, and that's how you get involved. So that's not hard and fast that you got to be on a committee to get elected, but that's a good start. So thank you for your comments.
Mayor,
Next is,
I could make a
Yes, sir.
comment, Mayor,
Yes,
if you
sir.
if you don't mind. I know
This
you said
is,
that was the last comment.
go right ahead, yeah.
We have a representative democracy, and so you elect representatives to represent you in our democracy. And so here in Waterville, we've elected 7 representatives. And then we vote on issues that are presented to the city as your representative. If you don't like what we're doing, you should let us know, absolutely. And I think ad hoc or fundamentally, you've already created a committee to tell us what you think about data centers. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I think we've learned a lot of things about data centers that we might not have known 3 or 4 months ago. So, but if you want to form a committee to tell us what we should do, it's not necessarily will be the result, because we ultimately, we, council, have the vote, because you elected council to represent you in all of these decisions. But I should say this, I appreciate all of your participation and dedication to this issue.
And I appreciate that. I guess, I hope that even all the information you've been shared, so much is coming in every day. That's why the moratorium is so important. We need the time to really do a complete investigation, the pros and the cons.
Okay, we're gonna have that discussion a little bit later, but thank you. So we'll move it along to Lisa Weber.
Lisa Weber, 7522 Wellsbury Drive. I accidentally put Waterville on my form, but Jenny caught it. I just prepared a small little thing here. I know that it is about data centers and that there are a lot of proponents in this region. They cite we have great energy, great water. It's just a viable option and a placement for data centers. But those are our concerns as well. For a moratorium, due to the extremely adverse conditions data centers can present to our natural resources. It would infringe upon many things that it would take a data center would infringe upon the rights guaranteed to us, such as pure water, safe soil, peaceful enjoyment of home, being free from toxic trespass, natural communities, and sustainable energy future. We question the due diligence completed in determining the detrimental impacts a data center in our community would bring when zoning changes were made. Why were zoning changes made if Waterville is too small for a data center? Why did we put it in our zoning, we could have one? We do understand that a property owner could request annexation and it could be granted, which is why we believe a moratorium is necessary now for this reason. And toxic trespass isn't confined to the pure water and safe soil, which our Bill of Rights guarantees. It also includes the air we breathe. According to the University of Alabama at Birmingham, the backup diesel generators, which data centers use, release 200 to 600 times more nitrous oxide into the air than a natural gas plant, which produces the same amount. We hear about that a lot of times, of how asthma and all these issues are going up and our health care costs are rising. This all plays into that. Who knows what the long-term health effects will be before any actual longitudinal study is performed. Data centers are pretty newer in the area. We don't know long-term what they're going to be. I'm not opposed necessarily to a data center, but near a very viable residential community I am. We were talking earlier, somebody mentioned that there was one out on an island somewhere, not by any residents. I mean, not a bad idea. I know this is the way our future's going, but just because it sounds like a good idea doesn't mean that it is. I skipped a whole bunch here. The argument which RGP uses is closed-loop systems that consume less water, but where's the guarantee that a data center will be using any particular type of cooling system? It has been shown that closed-loop systems also release more toxic chemicals into the water and consume much more energy. That is the only argument which RGP has for how these data centers aren't going to harm us, which violates two of the things that we are guaranteed for our safety. Toledo's water reserve is not an invitation for someone to consume it all. It's a buffer for future growth, which happened partly because we switched to Bowling Green's water supply.
And now that one is already compromised by the new data center being built in Wood County. This is unsustainable water usage. And with current, I mean, look at the current river. I mean, it's been down, and even the lake has been down for years. The Alliance for the Great Lakes reported this year that the city of Columbus is sinking due to new data center depletion of underground aquifers. Of Meta's 1.4 billion gallons consumed in 2023, about 672 million, roughly half, came from local water sources. And the loss from extraction is permanent. We'll never be able to recoup the loss. This affects not just our drinking water, our farming, everything. A report by a professor of environmental and water resources engineering at Virginia Tech claims the cost for infrastructure updates also falls on local taxpayers. We've heard from electricians that rate increases are regional, so even it doesn't matter where they're built, but a study at Harvard reveals that under-the-table agreements between utilities and big tech consumers result in electric bill rate increases for local residents. If you read, there are so many articles where data centers are, the electric rates are skyrocketing. And you know, maybe I can afford it in my budget. I could probably afford some of it in my budget, but as a social worker who works with low-income people, they can't even afford groceries on their table right now. That's the reality. And we do have people like that in our area. I go all over 10 counties. I've been in homes in our area for years. We don't want either a payment in lieu of taxes. We want to preserve the rights which allow us the mentioned previously, and a data center would infringe on those rights. So we are requesting a moratorium be enacted and the zoning change to protect the citizens of this community.
Thank you, Lisa. And I do appreciate everyone giving the speakers their attention. We got a lot of guests, or rather a lot of folks that are listening in. So when you start chattering out there, it breaks the confidence of the speakers. So please keep your remarks down, or not at all. If you want to say something, fill out a form and I'll happily call you up. Next is Paul Miller. Paul?
Paul Miller, 860 Continental Drive. I find it amusing we're talking about the city charter all of a sudden.
Say that again.
I said I find it amusing that we're talking about the city charter all of a sudden.
Okay.
Allow me to remind you that the collective will of this community is manifest in the comprehensive community plan, which you yourselves have resolved to abide by, and based on that alone, a moratorium on data centers is a given. That what you should be discussing is an outright ban, and that all it would take for you to avoid legal complications is to determine not to annex any properties that don't fit the plan, which will show the neighboring trustees that you're willing to come together in good faith to ensure that you don't make a mistake, which will ruin, both of our political entities. I'm here to tell you that the Anthony Wayne community will fight tooth and nail to secure the rights guaranteed by our city charter. So if you're worried about what kind of legal action a prospective developer might take now that you've made the zoning changes, imagine what kind of problems you're going to have when you're accountable for depriving 6,000 people of 6 of their protected rights. But this council wouldn't have changed the zoning regulations without delving into these issues. If you actually cared about any of that, it's clear that what's driving this push is the biggest, if not also the most obvious, scam in human history. This is a sad observation, since it should be common sense that when an offer sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So let me elucidate this matter according to the only thing which some of you actually care about, which is obviously the bottom line. Firstly, the city administration's brazen, continual policy of defying Ohio's sunshine laws has given us everything we could need to win a lawsuit, except the damages, which will arrive if there's an application for a data center. So you can forget about making a profit, and you can add on whatever legal expenses you're willing to stake against us. But even if you manage to win the suit, that won't change the fact that Ohio voters will likely abolish property taxes before the data center's rollout is complete. Do you think you'll be able to secure a payment in lieu of taxes from any company that decides to build here afterwards? After buying out the farmers when there's no property taxes and you rolled out the red carpet for them with your permissive zoning regulations? On the other hand, a moratorium would give you the time to see whether the issue will even be on the ballot in the next general election before you make a fatal decision. Now let's suppose by some divine providence you manage to win the unwinnable class action suit and that Ohio voters decide to keep paying property taxes. There's yet another issue which you still need to account for, and that is that all new hyperscale data centers could actually be obsolete before they're finished being constructed. It has been assumed that AI data center components will take 10 years to depreciate because that's what big tech would like us to believe. But Harris Kupperman, founder of the hedge fund Praetorian Capital, recently challenged this assumption and found that 10 years was too generous. He summarized the result of his research with the statement, "I don't see how there could ever be any return of investment given the current math." In short, the tech industry is already spending 8 times its revenue, has no plan to turn it around, and there's never been a bigger economic bubble than this one. For example, Sam Altman's company OpenAI has committed nearly $1 trillion to the development of artificial general intelligence and has an annual revenue of just $13 billion. He has also admitted that the infrastructure will likely be obsolete in 3 years and that he couldn't be less concerned about it. He has said, quote, "Whether we burn $500 million, $5 billion, or $50 billion a year, I don't care," end quote. And while that may seem like hyperbole, it certainly isn't. He's operating under the unfounded assumption that whoever gets across the AGI finish line first will win, whatever that means, and he'll do anything to get there, not the least of which is destroying our community, which I'm sure he's never even heard of. Someone who's infamous for being focused only on profits to the point of total disregard for safety, and make no mistake, AI is very dangerous. Yet has never made a profit in any quarter, and is willing to spend upwards of 50 times his company's revenue, has no business leading an industry knocking at this city's door, and you have no business answering him. Nobel Prize winner Geoffrey Hinton, the so-called godfather of AI, says the thing he's particularly proud of is the fact that one of his students fired Altman. The stated position of the man who invented the science is not for a moratorium on data centers like the one being discussed tonight, but on the development of AI itself. This is an important subject, and you should take the time to educate yourselves about it after you've put a pause on accepting applications. There's plenty of good information out there, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can if you want to discuss it in the future. But let's assume that you win the suit, Ohio doesn't abolish property taxes, and that some ignorant fool like Sam Altman does manage to succeed in achieving artificial general intelligence before the depreciation. If you're feeling that lucky, you should buy a Powerball ticket so you can buy the bridge you were sold by Gary Thompson. Even assuming all that were to happen, it's anybody's guess which company will actually win the race, and in that case, it will be a luck of the draw whether it happens to be the same company that bought the land and submitted an application over here. If you don't believe me, ask yourself why Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel recently dumped his entire stock of NVIDIA, which has more than 80% of the revenue share of AI accelerators, and then reinvested it into Microsoft. Do you know something that we don't?
Paul, I'm going to ask you, Paul, do you have a question? Because there's a lot of good information there.
That was a rhetorical question.
Pardon me?
That was a rhetorical
I know, but I mean, do you have a follow-up question?
Are you asking if I'm almost finished?
Yes.
3 paragraphs, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Please.
Whether it's a big company, a foreign competitor, a dark horse that no one expected, or even just a guy in his laptop in India who creates AGI, the one thing that's certain is that all of the hyperscale data centers built by the companies that lose the race will be extremely expensive operations for insolvent businesses, whether it's because of their 3 to 10 year shelf life or because one of them succeeds before then. None of the other data centers will still be running 10 years from now. They'll just be abandoned buildings that are a blight on the lands they were built on, which sustained us and our forebears for hundreds of years. That's the most optimistic scenario, the only one where anyone wins, and it certainly won't be this city or its residents. And finally, let's suppose that God loves RGP so much, or the devil hates our city so much, that all this actually does play out the way you're imagining it might. In that case, there's still an ace in the hole that your opponent will play because you were too short-sighted and too greedy to realize you should have worked with the township. And at the very least, you should have the moratorium, just so you can inquire as to whether you will even have an annexation agreement in the aftermath of this, and what the implications of that will be for the city. But all that's moot because you work for us, and we don't want him here. So you will either put a moratorium on data center applications tonight, or we will remind you that this is a democracy in a way that you will never forget. We, the city's residents, did not create this conflict and are committed to the least destructive action necessary to resolve it in our favor. I have managed to hold the wolves at bay until now on the promise that I myself will lead the charge if you don't impose a moratorium. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Next, Scott Johns. Scott?
Mayor, while Scott's approaching, in case there was any confusion, Mr. Miller was theorizing about a lawsuit. The city has not been sued by anybody at this point, but just be clear on that.
Thank you. Scott, name and address?
Scott Johns, 1207 Applegate, Waterville. I'll just say, wow, I won't be as threatening, but
Thank you.
the data centers, I got a couple things. Data centers there's a lot of pros out there and there's a lot of cons. I get it. My concern is the negativity, the impact it'll have on the city by just going with the flow and either saying, putting a moratorium on, especially after the last 3-4 years that we had with the whole amphitheater. I think it's going to hurt our economic development. And not to say that a data center is the right fit, but I think we have enough process in our government to handle that should it arise, which I don't believe it will for Waterville. I get that it's a concern for the rural area, and I'll say it again, that fight should be taken with the rural area. It has no impact on Waterville. So I'm gonna leave that at that. And then the other thing I wanted to do on a more positive note is I know this is the last council meeting of the year. And I want to thank the guys that are leaving for your service and your time and your commitment to the community. John, Anthony, thank you. And also for the other members, again, thank you for your service to the community.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, next is some old business, and this is a resolution number 34. I got ahead of myself. We'll go back to the agenda. Staff reports, start with our administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Council has a copy of my report. Wanted to mention the city did apply for a brownfield redevelopment grant, and that was for the property located at 300 Farnsworth Road. So it's $428,000, and it would cover 100% of the remediation costs for the property. So that would include removal of the gas tanks, the building, the canopy, and then restoring the site to a condition where we could redevelop the site for economic development. So that was, the staff has done that. And then we did have a meeting of the Park and Rec Committee. We're looking at a Park and Rec master plan. So we're taking a look at all of our parks, and we sent out a mailer to the residents to get their input, and we went over survey results at our last Park and Rec meeting. So in the Park and Rec meeting in April in 2026, we're going to continue that process, but that seems to be going well. So if council has any other questions.
Start with Anthony Bruno.
No questions.
Todd.
Hey, John, just wondering what the improvements to the fire station are going to be.
So we did the interior improvements to the upstairs, more sleeping quarters, and I mentioned to council about the roof leaks. And in the 2026 budget, we have some money set aside for fixing the roof and doing some brick work, restoring some brick work on the exterior.
I remember that, yeah.
And the fire station is actually 25 years old, so it does need a little touch up here and there. So we met with the consultant, the Bureau Architecture Group, and they kind of did an overview of what the next phase of the project's going to be. And again, that's in our proposed 2026 budget.
Okay, thank you.
Rod?
Oh, good, thank you. John, can you say that number again for the brownfield, for the gas station?
$428,000. So that, again, that's 100% of the cost, so
That's good.
hopefully that'll, if we're successful, that'll come through. So.
And then just to let people know, for the Parks and Rec Committee, you can still fill out that form if you haven't gotten it. Please do. We're still taking that information. We've compiled the first round, I think, but he said it will be open throughout the process. So we'd love to get as much input as possible.
That's a survey you're talking about.
That's a survey, yeah. I even got a little card this time.
Yeah. No,
John?
thanks for the report, John. Very good. Thank you.
Mary? All right, next is our law director, and before Austin speaks, you might see, it's not Katie. Katie was our law director. She had mentioned a couple months ago she was going to be stepping down, and as we were going through the end of the year, we thought that she thought she might stay till the end of the year, but she'd got a busy family, and she decided to move up that schedule of moving aside. She still in the area. She still is available to us if need be, but Austin was our prosecutor. We had two attorneys. We had a prosecutor and a law director, and the thought was for the short term, at the recommendation of Katie and some conversation we had with Austin, he would serve as the law director because he was the assistant law director and the prosecutor. So, Austin, now that I teed you up, I hope you got a good report.
Nothing to report at this.
All righty.
That was wonderful.
All right, next is our finance director. Thank you, Tiffany. Treasurer, Steve Schultz. All right. Well, they're consistent. They're following your lead, Austin. But I do know the police chief does have the report. Joe?
Oh, Joe.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Should have a copy of my report minus our stats. Since this was an early meeting of the month, they'll be in the next council meeting report. Couple things tonight. Holidays are upon us. Drinking and driving. Let's call for a sober driver. Uber. Let's get home safe to our families. I want to thank everybody that's been participating and participated in the toy drive. I think it's pretty even with the number of toys we got with White House. We've still got some time till the 10th. That's all I've got.
Questions for our police chief? Mary?
Oh, go ahead. I interrupted. Is the winner of the toy drive by weight or volume?
I think it's individual piece, I think.
Individual piece?
I think so.
Joe, I know you can't tell us a lot, but maybe between you and Austin, can you give the citizens an update? I know we had that unfortunate murder a couple months ago. Where's that at?
We did get an indictment on it,
Okay.
and they're setting it for a court date. And Austin Clapp
We'll
has
handle
been involved in that process also.
Okay, so it's moving along
Correct.
as planned.
Yes. Hard work between Austin and Detective Gowler.
Good.
Got an indictment out of it.
Just to clarify, it's unfortunate that that woman died. But for those of you that may not know, that are in the room or in the audience or on the TV, it was an unfortunate situation where we had a person that probably had a mental disability and caused that death to happen. I don't want citizens to know or think that we had a murder in the case that could be interpreted. Nevertheless, a life was lost. I can tell you this, and I think it's fair to let the citizen know, our police were on it right away, along with the Lucas County coroner, and other agencies, and the judge in Maumee was extremely complimentary of our police force, the way they handled it. So they got on it right away, and Waterville is and continues to be a safe city. Joe, thank you. John? Rod?
Thanks, Joe.
Joe, great report. I did want to remind citizens, great time of year, a lot of happy families out there. also a very rough time of year for a lot of families, and I always worry about suicide for those that are needing help. So just to let the community know, there is help, there is a number that they can call, and we're always here for you.
Anthony?
So what's that number, 611, right? 211 or 6?
If you scroll down our Facebook page,
Yeah.
it's listed on there several times. Can't think of what it is off the top of my head.
What is it? 211. Yeah, that's
Thank
what I
you.
thought. Yep, thank you.
Anthony? Alrighty.
Your Honor, may I add something
Yes.
very quick? I just wanted the citizens to know as well, there is a court date scheduled next week. There's been constant communication between the prosecutor's office now in Lucas County, who's handling the case, as well as my office, as well as with Detective Yowler. As a matter of record, I'd like to state again, as I have over and over again, we couldn't be more proud and lucky as citizens in Waterville to have Detective Yowler working for our force. He's an exceptional young man. And with that being said, the court date that is scheduled, and I think that the mayor alluded to this, I just would like to state it. There is no, and there was no direct risk to the citizens. This individual was, and when we say mentally compromised, as a matter of fact, the court date coming up has to do with mental competency issues. And as such, those issues are also being addressed through our office as well as other individuals with the facility that's involved as to the safety for our citizens in general, just moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next is our fire chief. Doug?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have a copy of my report. Only thing that I want to add was that we had the Public Safety Committee meeting, and one of the Waterville firefighters has presented a program that he has put together himself and put a lot of time and hard work and effort into this. You all should have a copy in front of you for further detail, but we'd like to start a cadet program here. We can run it through the Boy Scouts to help take some of that liability off of the city. We do have some legalities to work through with Mr. Gokenauer and the law team, but all in all, it's been a well-organized program by this gentleman, Brian Cox, who I want to recognize. He did want to be here tonight, but he was making sure he didn't take up a seat for the citizens. So I do want to recognize him for that. He has taken this full force and done all of the work on his own, and I believe it will be a very valuable program to the city of Waterville. So if there's any questions on that, I'll take as many as I can, and if I can't answer it, I'll make sure I take it back to Brian for you all. But
Doug, it's my understanding that at least 2 of the current firefighters went through this program in their hometowns. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, so Brian himself went through it in his hometown before becoming a full-time firefighter in Bath Township down near Lima before coming back up to this area. And Colin Fessenden, who was full-time with Swanton before coming to us, went through the Explorer program in Michigan and then became a full-time firefighter. White House has also had some success there as well. Lexi Dorner went through Rossford's Explorer program when they had it, and she's now a full-time paramedic with them. So they've had some success as well. It does take a lot of hard work, is where most of it gets lost. COVID did kill a lot of the Explorer programs, being that outside people weren't allowed in or on scenes due to exposure risks. But we've all been able to mitigate those and find a way to start anew. So we're looking forward to being a department in this area that offers that program and hopefully draw quite a bit of interest.
What do you need anything from us tonight? I know you're just rolling this out. I know you've been talking internally, but is there anything else you need from us tonight?
No, just so that you know about the program, and if you had questions, concerns, you could take them to Mr. Gokenauer as always. He'll have all the information along the way. But I think when Mr. Rosa gives his report, he'll speak on behalf of the Public Safety Committee. I don't want to take anything away from him.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for the chief besides the cadet program?
I could say it now, Doug, since you're there, but the safety committee did hear a presentation from Brian Cox and Chief Meyer about this program, cadet program, and unanimously recommended that it be recommended to council and to John for approval and pursuit of the program.
Okay. Alrighty. Anything else for Doug? All right, we will move on to our Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Just pretty much just one real quick thing. Due to the weather, got a little behind on leaf pickup. We're going to extend it through this week. We're going to do our best to get everything in the town. That's what I got for you tonight.
I think you're going to have a lot of happy people. No.
Good news.
No. Any questions for?
Do we always have to have water main breaks on holidays?
Seems that way.
Honest to God, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve last year, that went for 2 days. And the year before, it was at his house. It's always a holiday. These guys are making triple time. I'm like, what? Although they have earned every dime because they're out there in the cold and in the wet. I just am so surprised that it always happens on a holiday. So that's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Next is communications from council members and committees, and I will start with Vice Mayor Duncan.
I just have one question, and I did ask Lisa Haberstadt Jeffers this when we were together, and I'm going to ask Wayne because I need an answer for this. Why does Waterville need to be first with a moratorium? And it's a very serious question for me because we have the city of Toledo with all the law firms and Perrysburg and Sylvania and all the townships, and nobody has a moratorium. So it makes me nervous, to be honest, to be first out there with legislation for a moratorium. I'm asking Wayne because this is his thing. So why do we have to be first? I understand why.
I would ask the crowd, please. I would ask you, please.
Why do we need to be first, Wayne?
You know, that's a great question.
Wayne, can you speak to the microphone?
We are looked at, I agree with her, we are looked at as the leaders of our district, I think. You know, I've personally heard the mayor say we are the largest city in the area that will be affected. We just heard Perrysburg Township is you know, looking at it. They just had their meeting. Perrysburg Township's going to look at a moratorium. This is also new. I mean, I don't think anybody in this room is opposed to a regular data center. I've said it before. If they want to put one the size of Kaufman in the new spot and it's air cooled and the power lines are underground, no issues with the data center from Wayne Wagner. What we're seeing though is these hyperscale data centers are just, in my opinion, they're just taking over. And you know, you put it to a vote of Oregon citizens, I guarantee they pass a moratorium, but it's too late.
Right.
You know?
And I get that.
It's new. It's just something new. I mean, luckily we're ahead of it, right? We're ahead of the.
But are we putting a target on our backs? Honestly, I mean, I'm not.
Excuse me, Mary.
Asking you,
I'm going to ask.
Wayne.
Yeah.
I want to ask our citizens in the room, please, because it's not fair to the speaker, and we got folks that are trying to listen on the TV. So if you want to say something, please fill out a sheet and come to the microphone. Please be fair. Thank you.
Is it fair to say that again?
I feel like we're putting a target on our backs.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm not.
Well,
I'm not
been
ready to
said.
debate the whole data center thing. It's
Right.
just the moratorium that we're talking about tonight.
Wow.
We cannot control what happens in Waterville Township. I can't control what happens in Monclova Township. I don't get a vote. Most of the letters I got about the moratorium came from Monclova or Monclova Township. Honestly, I got 3 letters from Waterville. from Waterville citizens, where they live in the city limits of Waterville. I got a lot of letters, but they weren't from Waterville. So it's a legitimate question. I think, why do we need to be first when other townships and other areas have said, we're not doing a moratorium. It's illegal, it's not right, it's this, it's that. And they don't have anybody standing in line waiting to come to their city either. So I just think it's a legitimate question that I have not had answered from anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it comes into play that, you know, they've targeted certain areas as well, right? So they've targeted
But it's
Richfield
the
and
areas,
Spring-
the areas that they've targeted, I have no control over. I have to focus on the
but you're
city
asking
of
why we
Waterville.
have to be first. You know, they've already went to Richfield, they've went to Monclova, you know, which we now, and we'll talk about later, but they've gone to Oregon, and then there's a big X on Waterville Township, and we've all seen those marketing plans, and I've come to the agreement that yes, they are just a wish list marketing plan, but they are out there, and
The concept drawings?
the concept drawings.
Yeah, those
And,
were turned down a
you
long
know,
time ago. That's why I
those-
still have an issue about why, when you know we don't have the land, the electricity is an issue. I'm not
We're-
against data centers.
we're
I
roll-
don't want to
we're
give that
rolling
impression.
into- yeah, we're rolling
Why do we
into-
have to be first?
We're rolling into the next topic of discussion, but do we really not have the land?
No.
How much life is left in the quarry? Do you know?
I don't even care.
Is
They're
Crum-
not- they've
is
already
Crum
told us
empty?
they will never put anything near the quarry or
No.
the railroad tracks.
No.
They've said that.
They won't do it during the quarry while the quarry's in operation.
Well, the quarry has no intention of stopping.
If you look at, well,
They have
we-
no
we-
intention of stopping.
if we look at these sites, a large part of the sites are retention ponds. You've got a massive quarry with a big retention pond.
Well,
You've
you-
got
do you
Crum.
honestly-
You've got.
I just
let me
want-
finish,
I wanna
please.
know.
You've got Crum next door, which is empty. You've got a small Kaufman building, and you've got all kinds of land around it zoned M1.
That we don't own or control.
We don't need to control it. But
Yes, we do.
Well, we do control it. We control
From
the
a
zoning.
zoning perspective, yes. M1 is this big in Waterville, this big on the map,
It's
right?
big.
No,
It's bigger than you think.
It's
Half-
tiny.
It's
It is
the
not
majority
enough
of the
room
quarry,
for
Crum.
what you are talking about, which
Not
is a
hyperscale.
mega, hyper. We're
Correct.
going to have this big crisis with this major center. That is not true, and you know it.
I
So
don't-
why do
I
we have
don't
to be
not know
first
it.
with legalization, where you're saying we have to have a moratorium tonight? Why? Tell me why. Just give me one good reason, because I haven't heard it
The
yet.
application could come in tomorrow.
Oh, Wayne, if it was coming in tomorrow, then you know what? The land would be up for option. The land would be sold in Waterville, and it hasn't been. And you know that.
I don't know what's being done. I do not get involved with real estate matters.
You look at
So
that stuff all the time. You tell me.
I
You tell me who owns the land.
I tell you who on Aries.
Yeah.
But I don't know who owns purchase options
Options.
or whether they've been reported or not.
You and you agree that we still have to go through all the zoning, to change anything in this city. Planning commission, zoning, 3 meetings, a public meeting
On-
where they all get to talk
On an approved use?
on anything.
No. John, would an approved use require anything coming to council besides a recommendation to planning?
We don't have enough land in M1 for a data center.
I understand that, but does an approved use have to go before city council?
It might,
It
it
might.
might not. Depends on what the application is.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, we didn't know that we lost conditions, some of us.
Some of you. I do.
So
know?
I'm gonna just take a point of order for a minute.
I
Mary,
still,
you
I
asked a
still don't
question.
have a reason why it's an emergency that we have to do this right now. That's all, that's the only question I had, and I had it for
not-
Lisa.
it's not
I
an-
understand.
Not an emergency, it's been since October,
Well,
and
but-
we've had 2 months.
yeah, not true. That's a whole nother, I'll get into that after you do your speech.
So, Mary, I'm gonna ask you if you have other comments or questions?
No, I do not,
Okay.
at this time.
John Rozick?
I don't know what to say, Mayor.
Sorry, I just want to know.
I'm kidding, Mayor. No comments.
Wayne?
I don't have any comments.
Rod?
I just want to take this moment to thank John Rosick and Anthony Bruno this is their last meeting with us. Both of you were very instrumental in getting me on council back in 2019. You both were very helpful in helping me get familiar with this whole process up here. So again, I just want to recognize you both. Thank you for your time and commitment, and I'm going to miss you here on council. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Todd?
I too, and I developed some great friendships with both of these two, and it's been great to serve with you guys for 6 years, and I'm gonna really miss you guys. You know, hopefully you pop in and sit out there and get involved. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Anthony?
I just wanted to make mention of Wendy Gray and her team. Our downtown Christmas lights could not look better this year, and just wanted to say thank you very much to her team for all the hard work.
Keep it light.
I'm going to save my comments for Anthony and John Rosick a little bit later, but I do have a couple items to report. And like Anthony said, it was a great cold night last night, but it was nice to see the kids and the young adults and adult seniors out there enjoying themselves in the cold. Santa Claus was at the frame shop, got your picture taken at the salon, and certainly the singing and the kids involved down at Parker Square. So thanks to Wendy Gray and her team. We talked about the toy drive. I wanted to mention my appreciation for that, and reminder, December the 10th is the deadline for that. Chamber of Commerce has a nice meeting coming up next Tuesday. And we got a great chamber, and you got council, but I invite you to look up the chamber and become involved in that organization, because it's a great group. They do a lot of things. And I know that after the first of the year, they're going to be announcing some exciting things in the late winter, early spring. I'll tell you right now, they're going to have a wine auction in late March. More details to follow. I have a lot of art and a lot of other activities over at the hey, roll out. Nazareth Hall. Thank you. So more information on to follow. Additionally, I want to thank the fire department. I know today they were in action with their neighbors out in the White House area. Thank you for that. No one got hurt, and thanks for being involved. I've attended a couple of meetings in the last few weeks, one being TMCOG, Toledo Metropolitan Council of Governments. It's an agency with a lot of citizens, or excuse me, a lot of cities, villages, and caucuses. They talk about common issues in their community, and you work together. And coming up in January, there's a continuation of a grant program, which we got a hero in John finding these grants, but this is another area to tap into where we can find funding for our programs in our community. Additionally, our inclusive park program for kids with disabilities, that continues to move along. We took tomorrow night off, December the 9th, because it's Christmas and we're all busy, so we'll be back in action the 1st of January, but there is a lot of things moving forward in that as well. I mentioned about our law director. Lastly, democracy. I try to answer every email I get. Sometimes I miss one or two, but usually I get a reminder, Tim, I didn't hear from you. So I try to answer it. Even if it's just I got it and I'll get back to you. But last meeting, Chris Celesta in the audience and Stacy Schmidt he was in the audience, good friends of the family for 35 plus years. And I reached out to both of them because I wanted to get an understanding from them. They were just representative, only two, but I'm going to try and do that going forward because we can't communicate unless we sit down and have conversation. But nevertheless, Chris and Stacy had some valid questions and concerns, not just about data center, but just about city government in general. I want to touch on a few of them, and we'll be talking about these going forward, but communication, we can always do better communicating. Please know that sometimes we have more information than we can release just yet. We got nuggets of information. Hadn't been flushed out. It's not a fact, but it's kind of moving in the right direction. So we try to move forward. But Chris asked some very good questions, and I'm picking on him because he's here today. But and this was a perception, and I'm in sales and marketing just like Chris was, and maybe others there. And when you get perception, sometimes that becomes reality. And I have mentioned before, I don't necessarily get on Facebook. I get told what's on Facebook. But to me, that's not an official communication. And we're going to try and do a better job of communicating going forward so that citizens can get factual data. But the point that Chris made, he thought, the perception was, that on September the 8th, the data center text amendment was just voted on that night and moved on. When in reality, it started, I just happened to pull the minutes because I wanted to be factual. It started in such a place and time that back in the spring, we had a data center text conversation. It was May. And when we do a legislation or a text change, it's got to go to Planning Commission. So council reads it, refers it to the Planning Commission. That went to the Planning Commission roughly in June. They looked at it. They voted in favor of it. The next meeting came to City Council. Now, normally, it'd be about 2 weeks between that time, but in the summer, we meet usually 3 times, June, July, and August. So we got it about 3 or 4 weeks later. And we read it, first reading, talk about it, no action taken. Then our next meeting, second reading, talk about it, get a little update, no action. So then the third reading, or the third meeting rather, we talk about it and we have dialogue, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Then we vote it up or down. So there was a series of probably 120 days where that was talked about. Now, I don't expect every citizen to know every single legislation that we act on, but I do want you to know, at least in that particular case, we did follow all our code to get to that point. So, Chris, I know that was one of your questions, and there's some others that we're going to talk about later, but I asked Chris and Stacy to be ambassadors, and I'm asking you to be ambassadors. You're going to hear things, and the person telling you might think and believe it's accurate. Reach out to myself or the administrator and verify it. A lot of these misinformation pieces would go away. You don't have to like the answer, but at least get the facts, and then you can make your own decision how to move forward. Thank you for letting me elaborate. Chris, thanks for letting me call you out. He's a Notre Dame fan too, and we're having a tough day today. Yeah. Yep. And I welcome the opportunity to meet anybody, I think, to get to know you and move forward. Alrighty.
Mayor, could I interrupt? And
you certainly can.
We're out of order. I apologize for that. But while we have a crowd, I would like to say a few words about serving council, if you don't mind. I'm afraid they may leave after we argue about the moratorium. So just a couple comments I wanted to make. None of this has anything to do with the moratorium, thankfully, but I really wanted to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed being a member of this council. And I always tell my colleagues, it's fun. It actually is fun. Even when we have issues that we have to deal with, it's fun. And if it's not fun, it's interesting. And it's always interesting, even when it's fun. So we've had the good fortune, though, I've had the good fortune of serving with this council, which is a great council, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most honest, transparent, believe it or not, truthful council that you could imagine. And we are all dedicated to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Just like our prayer says every day, at every meeting. There's a line in the prayer that says, do what is best for the good of Waterville. And that's our mission. That's why we're here. We're here because we love Waterville. We want to do what is best for our citizens and for our city. And believe it or not, that is the 100% truth of why we are on city council. We don't always agree. You saw a disagreement just a few minutes ago, but that's fine. We shouldn't always agree because we have different opinions. But we do agree on doing what is best for the good of Waterville.
Right.
And that's all we can ask for. I think we've accomplished quite a bit, Mayor, in my terms, 12 years, 12 great years on council. I loved it. But there's a lot to be done, a lot more work to be done. And this council and the new members of council will pursue that work with the same dedication and diligence that we have for all of these years. So if you'll bear with me, Mayor, I'd like to say some thank yous.
Go right
Or I
ahead.
can do that later if you'd rather, but
No, go ahead.
we have a great administration. John Gokenauer does, he works about 80 hours a day, I think, on city business. Our police chief, Joe Valvano, fire chief, Doug Meyer, operations, public works, Rob Binkley, terrific staff. Every employee that works for our city, Tiffany, where's Tiffany? She's back. Tiffany, Steve Schultz, Jenny. We are so fortunate in this town to have great, committed employees, and they are managed by great, committed section chiefs. Of course, I want to thank my wife, my lovely wife. And my family, you know, for putting up with me and the dedication it does take to serve on council. And thank you to the citizens who participate in our government on a committee or just sending an email, communicating with us. It is so important to be involved in local government because local government is more impactful on your everyday life than what they're doing in Washington. So local government is where it all starts. City council, board of education, township trustee, that's where it happens. So stay involved. I really do. I think you should stay involved. And of course, I want to thank the citizens, all the citizens who elected me and didn't elect me, but still had to put up with me, for the confidence and the trust that you placed in us. It's been a privilege, really, to serve. So I'm just very thankful and fortunate that we have Waterville to call home, and let's keep it that way, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Two other items, then we'll move on. So we have some proposed appointments for some of the various committees I talked about earlier. I mentioned that we have letters of interest from 10 candidates who want to run and be selected for the 2 open seats. I'm going to remind them to consider getting on a committee. On the website, there's a form to fill out. But there's several folks that have been on committees. They want to stay, some new ones, some old ones. So council has my recommendations for the proposed appointments in front of you. And there will be probably 2 or 3 more that we'll have to fill after the first of the year. But I would ask for a motion to accept the appointments, proposed appointments. There are 25 of them. And I would ask for a motion to approve my proposed appointments for the various committees.
So moved.
So moved. Anthony Bruno, need a second?
Second.
Second, John Rosick. Any discussion?
I'd just like clarification on the Riverbend Industrial Park Committee. John?
I'll
Well,
ask John to give that update.
The city has to appoint some representatives to that committee, and we have 2 appointments, and we unfortunately, we are only able to get 1 person interested, but hopefully we'll get some other people interested. But that is 1 of 2 seats
And
on
that's,
that board.
that's the development on Choctaw, correct?
Correct.
And can you explain how that committee works?
So there's a committee, it's an architectural review committee, and what it does is you have 2 representatives from the property owner and 2 from the city, and they have deed restrictions and covenants that exist on the property, and in particular zoning that the city has, it's a planned business park. They develop what they want to do on the property, and then they present it to the city for our final review. But the standards have to be at least as strict as what is in the city. So that still does have to come to the city for a zoning permit.
Gotcha. And then, I guess my last question, most of these are re-ups, right?
With the
Is there any-
exception of Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
And like I said, there's a few more openings that people have stepped aside, and there are some people that have contacted me, so there will be some more appointments to fill. Anybody? Alrighty. All right, moving on. So it's been moved and seconded for the proposed appointments. All those in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? All right. And then lastly, I mentioned earlier, there are 10 candidates that want to be selected. I'll read their names. Michael Hampton, Karen Elbach, Nick Sargent, Tim Guzman, Colleen Weaver, Scott Johns, Rob Allen, Amy Self, Chris Gomez, and Nick Kaufman. Before we move too much further, we want to make sure they all are residents, at least 2 years in the city. There's a couple of things we have to vet out, but I think we've got a solid group. And we'll, at the first meeting in January, we will have a meeting with each one of them. And then we'll make a selection, probably the first meeting in January, but it has to be done by council within 30 days of January 1. For some reason, if we couldn't come to an agreement on 2 of these folks and it went past 30 days, then the mayor makes the selection, not necessarily from this group. I could pick somebody else, but I can tell you, all the years I've been involved, the candidates that have put in a letter of interest, we've selected somebody from that, within that group. Okay. Next up is old business, and this is a resolution 3425, and it's a resolution imposing a moratorium on the issuance or granting of applications or permits for data centers and ancillary facilities in the city of Waterville, Ohio, for a period of 12 months, 365 days. Before we get started, I also want you to know that last meeting, there was maybe some disappointment that we didn't vote on it then. I want to remind everyone that maybe it wasn't there. There was some logistics issues in terms of getting that legislation. We just simply could not vote on it that night. And I mentioned to council we wanted to go forward and make the best of it, and I think we are. I think it's given council and staff a chance to look at the resolution, and a few of us, John Golkenauer and John Rosick, we looked at what our former law director put together, and we tightened up a few things, we added some things, and made it a little bit more in our favor, if you will. So, I need John to elaborate on this, and then we'll have a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. So this resolution would authorize a moratorium on the issuance or granting of new permits for data centers and ancillary facilities for a period of 12 months, 365 days in the city of Waterville. Currently, there are no applications on file for data centers in the city, and moreover, there are no vacant parcels large enough in the city to accommodate the construction of a data center.
So, I need a motion to open up, put on the floor, resolution 3425.
So moved.
It's been moved by Wayne Wagner. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Anthony Bruno. Okay, now we'll have some discussion. So, John, any more comments from you, and then we'll go around the room.
Nothing further, Mayor.
Anthony Bruno?
Well, I think that when we talk about the moratorium, and, you know, Mary, you had said, why, because truthfully, I'm also wondering at myself, why would we be the first? I don't think there's a negative to be the first in anything, really, but in this, it's one of those things that, you know, if we are the first, and I really don't communicate with Waterville Township trustees or Monclova trustees, just because we don't really have any reason to, you know. But I've also received a decent amount of emails from people that live in Monclova, and they're asking us to do a moratorium. And I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they're just confused as to who makes the decisions where they live. I don't know. But where I'm getting to with this is I really hope that if we came up and let's just say we passed a moratorium tonight, I hope that, a neighboring place like Monclova, a neighboring place like Waterville Township, we can't even put a data center here of the magnitude that we've talked about. I really hope that it wouldn't let you guys down if they did not proceed with a moratorium, or even if they passed a data center and took one in the township or in Monclova, because really at the end of the day, what is it, 1.5 miles over from us? I mean, it's not like there's a Great Wall of China between us. I mean, it's still in our backyard. So, hopefully others will follow suit if that's what we decide on tonight. But, at the end of the day, doing what our citizens want is very important to me. And if it happens tonight, I hope you guys do the same, go to those communities as well, because really it's going to affect you, with it being 1 mile away. So that's what I have to say about it, I guess.
Thank you. Todd?
Thank you, Mayor. So I think about this, and I think the last time we were going to have major construction was the amphitheater, and there was a lot of opposition for the amphitheater. And since then, we've built a storage unit, I believe. Not a lot of other things, and now we're looking at, potentially, with all the talk that you read online, no applications in, another positive coming to, positive, negative, depending on how you look at it, coming to Waterville, and here we are, there's a lot of oppositions to it. So my concern is this going to continue to scare future businesses away from Waterville? Now, everyone in the crowd and people on TV might think, well, yeah, we want to stay small, right? We've dealt with, during the amphitheater, prices going up for trash, people coming up to the microphone complaining about $1.78 on their water bill, because people are on a fixed income. So I think when we look at businesses coming to Waterville, we're looking in the future. Of course, everyone has seen this, the property tax. If they take away the property tax, that's going to put a lot on everyone's plate, and how much revenue is actually going to come in to Waterville if they do take this property tax away. Well, then it is going to affect everybody in this room. And these are some of the things I'm looking at, and the future tax revenue in Waterville. And then I have a question for Wayne and maybe one person, Mayor, if you're okay if I call somebody that from the crowd up, because I have a question. Actually, I'll call someone up from the crowd. Is anyone willing to answer one question about the data center out here? Lisa? Either Lisa? Those you guys? Yeah, either of you guys.
Either
Yeah.
Lisa.
Just one. Come on. So I just want,
Go
so
up to
our
the mic.
goal.
Please go up
we're
to the
throwing a-
mic.
Lisa, go to the microphone, please.
We're throwing and you kind of answered this, but at the end of 1 year, if it was to pass, like what is our goal for this moratorium?
Our goal is, oh jeez. My goal, I think different people in the community, our goal is we need to have the moratorium. This is all happening so quickly. Whether, and it's really just, it's mind-boggling when you look at what's happening in Bowling Green or Perrysburg Township or Middleton Township. And we just want to be able to say, okay, slow up so we can investigate, have due diligence, because if this happens with where they're just rolling it in without being prepared, it's going to affect everybody. But I don't think anybody could say, you know what, if we're prepared, we do our due diligence, and we can find pros and cons, then you know what? I think the community, whether it's Waterville, Waterville Township, Monclova Township, I think we'll all feel more confident in the decision. Whether, yes, there are gonna be data centers, or no, there's not gonna be data centers. Excuse me? Exactly, work together so we're all on the same page, because just like Anthony Bruno said, and I've said this from the beginning, just because, let's say, there's not room in Waterville, but you know what? A fourth of a mile, a half a mile away, it's Waterville Township, or in Monclova Township. It's going, if it goes in any of those townships, it's going to affect our air, our water, our electricity. So that's why I know when you said earlier, what was your question? Why us?
Why would we be first?
Because
in
if
this
we're not
area?
the first, boy, we could be coming in last.
Can we please?
We could be coming in last if we're not prepared. We need to be prepared for it. You're asking me why the first. Let's set the bar so all the communities around us who actually think and feel that we're the leaders, we're not sleepy little Waterville. That's why I truly believe we need to come out ahead of this.
As long as.
And I know there's a lot of information out there. Data center's been around. As I told one citizen earlier, Santa Clara County has over 75 data centers in their 1,300 square foot area, and they've been around for decades. There's a lot of information, and I think Wayne brought up a good point that these AI data centers are concerned, the mega data centers.
Exactly.
So thank you, Lisa.
So I look at each one of you and implore you to please really.
So you're looking at, basically you would like us to be prepared to do due diligence to make sure we really look into how it affects our community, how it affects the environment and so forth. Okay,
I don't
thank
know,
you.
I think it was the mayor who even said, maybe we come up with a committee.
Okay,
And it could be from the different, towns and, I can't say the word.
thank you.
Yeah.
Collaboration, yep.
Yeah, exactly, or
Okay.
we could each have our own, but I think it's so important, please, please, please.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Wayne, the same question for you. What is the, yes, you brought this up. What is the end goal after a 12-month moratorium?
Proper zoning, right? I believe we have to have, in my opinion, we've got to get back to conditions. The fact that it may not come before this council, you know, being a approved use, that we don't get to say, hey, you know, as Will Turner said in that presentation, well, you can negotiate decibel levels. No, we can't. We don't have conditions. We can't negotiate. You know, we can't negotiate a lot of things that we could if we had conditions. I know you and John were for it, and I actually voted to pass this
I think
legislation. You and
John and I were the only two that
You and
voted
John were the
against
only
it.
two that see- We have.
Let's set the record straight, eh, John?
Since September 8th, we have infinite more information now, and I'm not sure that we would have voted the same as we did, you know, on September 8th. I think it would be a totally different vote now.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
John, anything
all
else?
I have. Thank you.
Rod Fry?
Thank you, Mayor. I made most of my comments at the last meeting, but I'm gonna go over a few of them again. First of all, we don't have sufficient ground in the city of Waterville for a data center application to be made. Secondly, we've already been told that one's not gonna be here in the city of Waterville because we're on the Middleton Townships. Electrical grid, we were told that at the town hall. We've been told that by energy companies. Thirdly, we get our water from BG. Lucas County, which is really spearheading this, they're not gonna wanna see a data center that's gonna be purchasing water from Wood County rather than Lucas County. And Matt Hireman's actually made it very clear that it's not gonna be They're not gonna be using groundwater, but they'll be using water from Lake Erie, which is Lucas County water. So, we don't use Lucas County water in Waterville. Last week, my windows were shaking on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon from a blast at the quarry. That's the last thing a data center is gonna wanna do, is build in any kind of blast zone. So, I mean, they're not gonna be there. They're not coming there. Bans and moratoriums are ineffective. Ohio courts have basically thrown them out. Landowners have rights. They can do as they wish with their property. So in most cases, these bans and moratoriums are being thrown out. I don't understand why Waterville, the city of Waterville, is getting beat up over this moratorium. There's something else going on here. There's more to this. I mean, Waterville Township, Monclova Township, the city of Maumee, I don't see them getting beat up like we are here in Waterville. And there's something else going on here.
No, they are. They're getting.
And there's
No, they're
Wayne.
not.
I'm not done. There's something else going on here. It's more than this moratorium. Because I see what's going on out on social media and how we're being attacked. The mayor's being attacked. It's not right. I mean, it's amphitheater 2.0 all over again. It's ridiculous. So, we don't need this moratorium. We don't need to be the first. We don't need any more lawsuits. We're already being threatened with a lawsuit out here. So, you know, it's ridiculous what we have to put up with here. I don't want to see this moratorium at all because, as Todd said, we need to bring businesses to this town. You may not have noticed, but on this agenda, there are two ordinances or two resolutions that will likely be passed later tonight. It's gonna cost me more money to have the city patrolled over the next 3 years. And I don't have a problem with that because we need to pay our police officers the kind of money that they deserve to make so that they're here policing our city. But you know what? If I don't have any more revenue coming in, if I don't have businesses coming to Waterville so that we have that revenue, then I gotta take that money from somewhere else to pay those guys. So we need businesses, we need development, we need investors. I don't want a moratorium to deter them and have them go somewhere else. I don't want them going to White House. I don't want them going to Maumee. I want them coming to Waterville. We need that revenue. We need it, and if we don't do that,
Can you please refrain from
we need
the
income
comment?
tax revenue from the businesses. We need those people working here. We need businesses. We need retail businesses. We need to work with the Port Authority to bring more manufacturing businesses here. We need income tax revenue. If we don't have it, there's only one other place that we can get it, and that's to raise the 2% income tax. We haven't done that for years, but we may have to do that. Okay?
Shannon, I'll get to you in a minute, Shannon, but not right now, please.
Those are my comments.
All right, thank you.
All done. Thanks.
So
Wayne?
I kind of like going towards the end, but to follow up with Todd and Rod, they both made questions, so, or both had comments that they made. We passed a moratorium exactly a year ago tomorrow on two different things. We haven't gotten sued yet. We haven't gotten sued by any storage units, which was.
You want to know why?
There was one. Let me finish.
Okay.
That's what you know. And we haven't been sued by a car wash. You know, we had a moratorium on car washes and storage units. Yes, in language. I can read you the ordinances, or the resolution was 4224 and 4324. Those expire tomorrow. You know, Meyer, Quick Trip, AutoZone, the Collective, we got a new vet over here, and they started the storage units, and Kaufman expanded, all since our amphitheater debacle. You know, so we are getting business. These are great businesses. We turned down Quick Trip Why'd we turn down a Quick Trip? If we're, isn't that gonna look bad for the city to turn down a gas station? We turned down, you guys did, you turned down more apartments. Doesn't that look bad for the city, turning down business? Apartments are a business. That's a business. I didn't want them. I'm glad you guys did. But these are businesses you turned down you didn't think twice about. It got unanimously voted down to vote down that Quick Trip. Nobody wanted that darn Quick Trip. You don't think businesses are looking saying, well, hey, they're not business friendly? I mean, this is a pause on applications. This isn't you're never going to build a data center here. This is a 1-year pause so we can put the proper requirements on the zoning for it. That's all it is. And and I've sent everybody an email, I would argue that a data center is going to stop the kind of development that we want. Have you seen the prices that they're getting around this data center land? No Olive Garden, no Carrabba's is going to spend $360,000 an acre to build, and that's what they're getting for around New Albany especially. I mean, they're getting like an exorbitant amount of money around these data centers for more data centers. I went down there. I saw McDonald's that was overcrowded. You couldn't even get into it. We barely got in to use the restroom, and a hotel in New Albany. They're building their new Facebook data center, Prometheus. They're building it in a tents. Do we have anything stopping them from building them in tents? We need to. Elon Musk down in Memphis put up a data center. XAI, he's running, gas turbines, 35 gas turbines. No permits. Lied, said he's only running 15 of them. He had 33 running, according to imaging. I mean, this is the guy that ran Dodge, government efficiency. I mean, I can go on and on. I sent you guys the letter. If we want to talk about why be the first, well, you don't want to be the last. You sandbag before the storm. You don't put sandbags up during the storm.
It is.
I could go on and on. I guess my question, my last question is, and this goes to you, John and Tim. We don't have enough land. We don't have enough vacant land. I think we have enough land. I don't think anybody in this room could tell Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg that they're not going to buy that quarry if they decide they want to buy that quarry and close that quarry. Or that, railroad that's struggling, that hasn't had a train go down it in years. But
it's a deterrent.
if we don't have enough land, not one person, I can tell you the answer is no, not one person said, why are we changing the zoning to allowed use? We don't have enough land. We just did it. Every one of us did it. If we didn't have enough land, why did we change the zoning?
Anything else?
That's it.
I want to answer that last question. There's a reason why we changed the zoning. And I tried to communicate it before. To protect ourselves. We was advised in October of 24 that southwest Lucas County and southern Lucas County is the area where there's land and there's potential developments. We did what we thought at that time with the best information to change, or amend our text amendment, or our text amendment for our zoning. That's why we did it, Wayne. And there's no other reason. But in my day job in economic development, you throw out a big net. Who's gone fishing before you with a net? You just throw it out there and try and catch some of the fish. Sometimes if they're smaller walleye or perch, you got to throw them back in because they're too small. No decisions were made during that process. And there's some individuals who I think you know who they are, or who she is, that presents wrong information. So that's why we did it. We were advised to do it. We looked at what was going on in Oregon, Ohio. We looked at their zoning regulations. We didn't match it word for word, but put yourself in our shoes for a minute. You got this opportunity. You got these things coming down the train track, if you will, and we've been advised to try and get ahead of it. No one in this room can predict the future. We don't know if someone's going to buy the quarry. We don't know that. But what we do know is we've got a prime location for smaller businesses. And I mentioned before that the Port Authority, as a partner with the city, they bought property behind Surface Combustion and Kaufman Engineering. Those are the kinds of businesses that we want to attract. Someone posted today, I got a message, that they're out there doing some soil testing. Well, guess what? They're putting in a road in the middle of the property to get ready for next year. Our area is being looked at for nice businesses. We can't lose sight of that.
And that's all after the amphitheater debacle.
Yeah, but I can tell you that it's stalled until things settle down. John Rosick.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, excuse me. And before I begin, if you don't mind, I would like a show of hands if you do not live in the city of Waterville. Do not. No offense, Rob, but you don't count as well. Could you do that? Or another show of hands if you live in the city of Waterville. So we're about equal in the room right now, if I didn't lose count. And so I just want to know who we're representing tonight. And I would have preferred, no offense to the township people, that the room was full of Waterville people, and it's not. So you have denied a Waterville resident of a seat while we argue about this moratorium. I don't want to be offensive, but that's just the reality of the situation. But with that said, we have what we have here, Mary, and we're going to have to deal with it.
That's right.
I don't mind being number one, truthfully. I kind of like being number one, the first, being the first. There's an old saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way. So maybe we should lead in this case. I don't know, but let me.
Get to my second point.
I think the moratorium would give council, the planning commission, the administration, the chance to re-look at what we did with the zoning code a few months ago. You might remember, as Todd pointed out, only Todd and I voted against that ordinance to change the zoning code. And I was not in favor of it because I didn't think it went far enough if we're going to have zoning about an amphitheater, or we should have not done anything and just made it a conditional use application. So that's why I voted against it. At that point, even in September, we didn't know anything about amphitheaters like we know today. Amphitheaters. Data centers. See, I keep talking about amphitheaters. Data centers.
It's okay, he's living in the past.
So, John, what's the process to change the zoning code, just so we know?
So, a property owner would submit an application to change the zoning. The zoning referral comes to council. Council refers it to the planning commission. The planning commission has a public meeting. They provide a recommendation to council on changing the zoning. According to our charter, it would come back to the city council, and you'd have 3 readings. The third reading would be a public hearing, and that's how you change the zoning. So I guess I just wanted to mention something about conditional use permits. Conditional use permits are not subject to voter referendum. So Waterville Township has a 1-page requirements on zoning centers. It's only data centers. It's 1 page. It says conditional use. So Waterville Township can pass a conditional use permit for a data center. They put a bunch of conditions on it, but it's not subject to voter referendum. So the way the city has set up our text amendments are, since we don't have land that's zoned light industrial, if someone wants to put in a data center, they'll have to come to city council and ask for a zoning change. So it would be from commercial or residential, or if we annex land in to the city under our charter, the city council has to change the zoning to match the existing city zoning. So again, not only would city council have to approve any annexation request, they would also have to rezone the property to the appropriate zoning to permit a data center. So just because you have a conditional use for a data center does not mean that you're protected because it's not subject to voter referendum. So in the city of Waterville, and I think this is unlikely, but if we did do a data center, the citizens can go and put it on the ballot and decide whether they want it or not. So I guess that's the ultimate check on this process, is the way the city of Waterville did this, is that at the end of the day, the voters can decide if you want a data center or not. So, but in the township, it's a conditional use, so it's not subject to referendum. So there it is.
Thanks, John. And it's the same, if council initiates a zoning change like we did, in September or July or whenever it was, same process, it would start here, go to the planning
Right.
commission, come back here, we'd have 3 readings.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. As far as a moratorium goes, if we pass a moratorium and we're sued a month later, can we just revoke rescind the moratorium?
We have to look into that. We really do.
Okay. All right. Some data centers, and Todd, I want somebody down there, some data centers might be totally acceptable. A smaller shoebox size instead of the thing we saw in New Albany. And so I think that's one reason to have a moratorium, so we can look at all the opportunities, all the options. I don't think it would discourage development. I think a developer would have to realize why we passed a moratorium, and we're not putting a moratorium on business development. We're just pausing what we might do for a data center. And business development certainly is welcome, and I would hope a developer would realize that we're protecting the community from what we don't know today. We just don't know about data centers. I don't know that we need a 1-year moratorium, truthfully. If we can go through this process and look at the zoning and get it fixed the way I would like it, I guess, we could probably do that in 4 or 6 months, I would guess, something like that, if we started tomorrow. So maybe a year is too long, and maybe a year would be more incentive for a lawsuit or for a developer not to look at Waterville. I would say this, though, no matter what we do, we are not going to save farmland by doing something in Waterville. The farmland is not in Waterville for the most part. If a farmer chooses to sell his land because he doesn't want to farm anymore, or the kids are done farming, it could be sold, and we can't stop it. If you're concerned about that, you really should be doing what you're doing tonight in Waterville Township and Monclova Township, and maybe in Maumee, although Maumee doesn't have any land really to speak of. So we're not saving land, and we don't have any control, as Mary said, we don't have any control over the township. Whether we're first or last, the township is totally independent of Waterville, and they might look to us to see what we did, but they're on their own, both townships. And I would just like to say a word about lack of trust and transparency. That troubles me when I see that on I hate to use the word, but Facebook, that's where we all get our news, right, on Facebook. With this council, if you don't trust us, you are grossly mistaken. This is the most trustworthy group of people that you can imagine. So, and transparency, let me say a word about transparency. Every time somebody comes to Waterville with a proposal, we don't broadcast it to the community because we don't know where it's going to go. But before it gets concluded, if it develops into a true development, you'll know about it. And you'll know about it in time to do what you're doing tonight, to object to that proposal. So we can't be transparent. It's not practical to be transparent from the first day. But the transparency will come when it's time for transparency, and you'll know all about it in plenty of time to decide if you like it or you don't like it. Lastly, I'll just say, Tim, I read every email. I do.
I do too.
And Tim responds to every email, so I don't think you need 7 responses to your email. But believe me, I read every one, and I appreciate them. I appreciate your involvement. And I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Mary?
Couple things. I think a year is too long also, but I don't think we need a year to do investigation. That's me. And also, this is so broad to me. It might not be broad to you. It seems so broad. It's like any data center of any size, of any business. And can't we put some language in to maybe limit what we're talking about here? Because we have a data center. We have data centers in Waterville already, and they're not causing all the problems. I understand AI data centers and large data centers, which we can't accommodate anyways, are a problem. I get that. I understand it. I agree with you. But I don't want, I worked for American Express for 30 years. We had data centers. That's how your credit cards got done, right? Every day. We had 8 data centers in Phoenix, Arizona. We have 2 now because they keep shrinking and things are faster and they're doing it better, right? So I know a lot more about data centers than you think I know about data centers, or you're giving me credit for. I'll say that. I think a year is too long. I think this is very broad, and those are 2 of my issues. The only other thing that I wanted to say is, I go to the township meetings. Lisa, you see me there. I'm pretty sure you can verify it. I have gone there to complain to them about things they approve that we don't want them to approve. For example, they wanted to build a storage center across from the garden center on Dutch Road. They wanted to use the existing buildings. They were fine with it. I went in and said, gee, that seems odd because there's no water back there. I can't get my trucks in the driveway or out if they do go in. And you want to put boats in a wooden barn? And they still said, yeah, it's okay. The developer said no and said, you know what? We're going to tear down what's there, start over, and build metal. Not the township. They didn't say no. They should have said no, but they didn't. Let's talk about the apartments they're building now on Waterville, Monclova, just outside of the city. They wanted to make them 4 stories. I said, our fire trucks can't go up 4 stories. Our fire trucks can't get in and out of that area without damaging our fire trucks. They still approved them. It's not 4 stories, it's 3, and they feel like they made a big concession. But when you say to us, you should work with the township, I try to work with the township on everything they approve. I go to the zoning meetings, I go to the trustee meetings, I tell them what we think. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to Waterville in a lot of cases. They asked Doug his opinion. He is our fire chief. He is their fire chief, and they didn't listen to him. So I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but don't expect, if this gets passed, for them to do anything like this.
John, I do have a quick question for you, if you don't mind, Mayor. So just hypothetically, a moratorium passes and an application comes in for the city of, Waterville Township.
We got nothing.
So they build in Waterville Township, and being we have a moratorium, we then can't annex into Waterville because of a moratorium. Is it possible that they're thinking, Waterville's like, I hope it passes because we need money?
Waterville
Yeah.
Township.
Yeah, is it possible they're thinking, I hope City of Waterville passes this moratorium so Waterville Township can say, like Mary just said, I just thought of it, they don't care. They don't
what we
care,
think.
apparently, about some stuff that is very, very serious, and they build it just so they can keep all of the money and we can service it.
So that's
Yep, is it,
either John or me.
is it possible that that blocks us
Coconut.
from?
You know, and I mentioned that conditional use permits aren't subject to voter referendum. So essentially, your 2 trustees votes away and a conditional use permit away from a data center. And so they don't have the review process that we have. And you know, Wayne mentioned the Quick Trip, or Quick Trip. That was a zoning change, so council had a lot of latitude to consider traffic and noise and all different kinds of characteristics, which a conditional use permit is an administrative hearing for a permit, a zoning permit. That's what it is. So, you know, they can put some conditions on it, and when they do, and if it's voted on by 2 trustees, there's 7 council people here, so, you know, we have 7 votes, there's 2 there. That's it, and it's not subject to voter referendum where, if it did annex into the city has to change the zoning, and Mr. Rosick asked about the process. It goes to council, it goes to the planning commission, it comes back to council. There's three meetings, there's a public hearing, and at the end of the day, if the citizens don't like the zoning change, they take it to a referendum. If it gets on the ballot, they vote on it, and that's the end of the issue right there. So.
Okay, so I guess my question is, if it goes to if we have a moratorium in place, they build it, it passes, it's 2 votes, we cannot annex it in because it is a data center.
We could annex it in, we would have to wait till the end of the moratorium.
Wow, okay.
I would say, though, that if we have even a 12-month moratorium, nothing will be built in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
So we'd probably be okay in that regard.
So, to clarify, John, zoning changes are subject to referendum.
Yes.
So, wouldn't that make the theory of we're already protected because we can do a referendum? We can do a conditional use, and we can still referendum the zoning change. The citizens could.
Yes.
Correct? So we could switch to conditional use and still have referendum rights by change with the zoning.
But if you have the zoning change, you know, you can consider all aspects of it. A conditional use, they're only the conditions that, you know, you can think of at that meeting. And there are 2, you have 2 trustees, and that's
No, I'm talking
it.
more for Waterville. You know, what I got from your statement is the citizens could put a referendum on an approved use zoning change.
Yes.
And we can still get our conditions and still have, the citizens could still have referendum rights
Well,
on the zoning change.
when you look at a zoning change, you look at all the characteristics of the development and noise and traffic and landscaping, and if you don't like it, you vote against it.
Right.
That's how it is.
Another couple of things, and Tim, Mayor, I appreciate letting us all have another turn.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas season.
And we are getting kind of heated up here. Rod, I don't know if you noticed or saw this. At the Maumee Planning Committee meeting, Zach Isaac and Brian McMahon went up before the Maumee Planning Committee meeting, and Brian McMahon's the one that sold all the land for the Meta site down in Middleton Township, and they announced they're building their own generation facility. So I spent an hour and 40 minutes on the phone with Matt Hireman. All of these XI data centers, and I did it after the last meeting so I'm giving you guys as much information as I possibly can. All of these AI data centers are actually going with 3 forms of power. They're bringing in large battery banks because they're the fastest, quickest way to get power. And these AI searches, they create such a surge, is what Matt said, that they can't wait for turbine power. They can't wait for grid power. The grid power, because of the AI searches, and I mean, we're not talking about our phone AI. We're talking about crazy AI stuff. Like the guy that built, he redid the bridges. I mean, I think we've all seen the bridge done by AI. But those create such a spike that they're actually harmful to the grid, is what Matt said. And that's why they want those batteries there. And then they're going with most of them are going with natural gas generators. And I initially thought, I told the mayor this, I thought we were gonna get an Oregon Clean Energy. I thought we were gonna have a 70-foot, 80-foot, you know, smokestack out there. But from what I can see in the pictures I've seen of these data centers, they're dealing with Plume Energy, and they're bringing in like trailers fulls of individual power banks and sticking them beside. And I know, you know, there's pictures floating around, and I've sent a couple out. But
Wayne, can you wait? You started a sentence about the Maumee Planning Commission, and then I never heard another.
Okay,
what?
so that's Brian McMahon stated
Okay.
at the Maumee Planning Committee, and I can only assume he knows what he's talking about since he sold the land at Meta. He said that they are now building their own generation facility. So they're going to
out at Meta.
They're going to take power off the grid, and they're not going to use as much grid power. So the theory of we can only have one data center per grid is going to get next.
Actually, a lot of times they help sell the power back
And
to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wayne, quick question, does it concern you that if we were to put a moratorium in place and they get an application in Waterville Township that, you know, they already know, an application comes in tomorrow, like you suggested, one comes in, we have a moratorium in place, you have 2 township trustees that can say, build it.
There's currently 3 township trustees that have all came out against data centers. The incoming township trustees, you know, it would be in his backyard. Even though he does AI work, I mean, he does a lot of shipping on AI.
He works for a
He
data
stated
center.
to me personally on the trip to New Albany that he was against data centers. It doesn't concern me because nobody in their right mind is gonna make a deal with the township, give them the money, and then say, okay, well, let's go to Waterville. Why? If they've already gotten to the point where they're building, they've already gotten through their pilot agreement, and the money's already paid, there'd be no reason. In fact, the money made at that AI data center would then be subject to city income tax. I mean, if you can build it in township, honestly, it makes the most sense because you're not paying income tax on those things.
You're
Not that
making
we
my
want
case.
it. But whether we like it or not, Waterville is the center of the Anthony Wayne district. I mean, everybody, Monclova, everybody in White House and Waterville Township, where do they go shopping? They go to Waterville. You know, so we are the leaders of our area, whether we like it or not. And we have a chance to lead, you know, so I am willing to negotiate.
Whoa.
I understand that maybe we don't need a year, you know. Not a knock on John, but we haven't discussed the moratoriums on storage units or car washes since last year, and hopefully we can extend that at least another couple months so we can get precautions in place. Maybe we don't want any more storage units or car washes. I don't. But I would be fine, you know, I talked to the mayor and I think he talked to most of you. I think we can get on it. And at any point, we can come back and say, okay, we're done with the moratorium. We've finished our work. The year just gives us a year to make sure that gets done. And I am very concerned about property taxes, and by next November, we should know if that vote happens, what that vote is. And I can tell you, Matt said he'd be the first person holding a no data center sign if we lose property taxes.
Of course.
Because
Okay.
we will have hundreds and hundreds of acres with 50 employees.
So I didn't get a chance to say anything.
Go ahead.
Number 1, we're listening. Number 2, there's a lot of data, information that we have to digest. It's my job, along with my council members, to bring it forward and boil it down. We've been talking about a lot of things here, there, maybe, this, that. We got to deal with what's in front of us today. The moratorium conversation came up. I don't think we need it, but council has to make that decision. However, I did speak to council members over the last few days. I don't think a year to hang over all of us is worth it. We're gonna take time, either in 60 days or 90, 120, whatever the number is, and work to find out what will or what will not work. And I said to Wayne and some of the others, if we pass a moratorium, we're going to have measurable benchmarks, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, something as simple as we're going to meet and decide to go to city X, Y, or Z, and go do our own due diligence. Wayne did, he talked about it. I did, John Rosick did. I tried to get council to consider going, which they agreed to, but New Albany, they're busy with their year-end planning for next year, so their budget. But they would welcome us to come down. Maybe that's not the right community. Ladies and gentlemen, we've lived tough through the amphitheater. I will not let that tear us down again. We don't know or didn't know all the facts that were coming out now. And honestly, I think you will agree, some of the information that's being spread is so far off track, you almost can't believe it. On the other hand, you have to open your eyes and listen and try and understand it. So I'm not in favor of a year. I'm in favor of 90 days. It's going to cause us to make some decisions. Maybe it's 120. I said 90. And it's a compromise. It's a compromise. It's a compromise. I think we owe it to our citizens. We owe it to ourselves. I don't want this to hang over us for another year. It's not fair. It's not healthy. And hear me out. I told you I don't think a year is the right time. I said before, we don't have the land. The quarry's close by. Please, we don't have the land. It was mentioned that we didn't pass Quick Trip. That was a safety hazard. It didn't get in and out of 64. Apartments are not economic development. And guess what? Neither is retail. It's a great thing to have, but it doesn't pay the bills. We need more small businesses, and we're working on that. And we have some other things in the hopper that probably in the first quarter we'll have a chance to announce. So having said that, I think it's been said before, we're at a crossroad, and we got to make a decision tonight. And I'm looking for some amendments, if you will, to the 365 days. I also heard that we're okay with, quote unquote, a smaller data center. Here's an example. We got on here, no data center. What's small to you and what's small to me are different. So I'm willing to risk on the risk on the side of trying to do what's fair to all. But we can't just stop things. We can pause them. So,
Mayor, my concession would be for a period of up to 12 months. And if we follow through, like you said, we can always knock it off. You said to me, let's do it for 6 months, and if we have to, we can extend it. But the same holds true for if we get our work done, we can abolish it. And I would like, ideally a committee formed as well to do, it's a lot of work to put on just council.
So
planning.
I'll address the up to 12 months. I don't think you've got the votes up here to do that, okay? It could go down.
Good.
I think we need to be fair and go with something reasonable. The committee is the council. Think about it. John Rosick just said, you elected us to make these decisions. We're not doing them secretly. You come to all the meetings. We get much information. We try to pass it on. But we can't just have another committee. I'm not saying we can't have some dialogue, but that gives false hope. And I said before, 2 weeks ago, somebody, and not our law director, someone else, wanted to pass that last week or 2 weeks ago, and would have been illegal. It wouldn't have been held up in court. And I said, no, we're going to wait and do it next council meeting. So, Wayne, you made a suggestion.
Mayor, I would chime in that from what John said, how often does the Planning Commission meet, John?
The planning commission meets once a month.
Once a month?
Yep.
So if we started in the next 30 days to redevelop the zoning ordinance, the zoning provisions, Chris, so it's going to be, we're probably going to lose 30 days, but we might get it done. Then that goes to the Planning Commission, let's say in January. And if they act on it, I assume they might act on it in January, comes back to council. We have 3 readings. That gets us till the end of February. That's a little aggressive, I think. No, the end of March probably.
End of March.
So I would be leaning towards a 6-month, I think, moratorium, just to make sure we have enough time. But the year, we talked about this, if you have a year moratorium, we get to the 11th month and we haven't done anything.
Right.
And Anthony and I won't be here, so you can't yell at us at that point. You won't be here. But in 6 months, I think the pressure's on. We are, it's got to get done in 6 months. At the end of 6 months, I don't even want to say this, but it could be extended probably, but I don't think it should be. I think it needs to get done and get it over with, so it's on the books. 6 months, four maybe not enough. I'm just trying to think of the calendar, John, as you're going out. If the planning commission can't decide in the first meeting, it might kick it to the next meeting. So, you know, we could lose time all along the way. Make a motion?
To change it.
And I want planning committee to look at it. Like,
They
I
are.
want
They
them to
will.
ha-
They
I want
will.
them to have more than one meeting to look at it, so I
They
mean,
can. They can take it. They can take as much time as they want.
if the offer on the table was 6 months and my initial was 12, let's meet in the middle and go 9. I think it's gonna take 9 months. I honestly do. I mean, we are learning way too much, you know, and to schedule in 6 months, we're not even till June. If there's gonna be serious, trips to New Albany or over to Indiana to see,
Granville.
I mean,
So, I heard you say a year. I heard you said 6 months. I said 90 days. I said 120 days. I think 4 months is reasonable. It's going to cause us to do our work.
I would be in favor of just going with with a year.
yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't,
I don't want to live under this cloud for a year.
There isn't any cloud to live under.
Yes, there is. Dear God, we got
Wait a minute, Shannon.
400 people coming
Please.
looking at us.
It's
Please. I said I'd get to you. Please.
up to 12 months. I mean, we do that all the time, up to 12 months. If we get it done in 2 months, we're gonna walk away and say, hey, there's no more cloud.
I know we talked earlier today, and we were discussing 6 months. I said 4 months. I'm telling you,
To have fun,
I don't want our citizens or us to have this hanging over us.
Mayor
Let's
said-
do our job, and let's get it done.
To have fun, we know your trick. You always go real high on something or real low on something, so we meet in the middle.
I think 4 months is adequate.
Okay, I'm gonna re-up it to 2 years. Let's meet in the middle.
That's up to council.
I would move to amend the resolution 3425 to call for a 6-month moratorium instead of a 1-year moratorium.
so moved.
I did
Second.
move.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to amend that ordinance 3425 from 12 months to 6 months. And that's beginning today, is that correct, John?
Well, whenever it's passed, if we pass it today, this is,
Yeah.
I guess this is a modification of the ordinance. Do we do that by motion, or?
By vote.
We have to vote on that first, then we vote on the ordinance as modified, right?
Well, you vote on the resolution, right?
Right.
No, you made the modification, you vote on it, based on the modification.
With the proviso, then, that we get started. You get started. I'm not gonna get started.
They already are started.
But, so it gets done in 6 months. If it gets done in 4 months, great. And Wayne, can move to revoke it, rescind it.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to the 6 months. I just know we just can't let these things drag on. We gotta get to it. I'm okay with 6 months. Wayne and I talked about it, some of the other council members, but I also want us to have measurables. 30 days, something's gonna happen, 45 days. And so that we keep it moving forward. Shannon, if you wanna go to the microphone, please. State your name and address. It's another Santa Claus present. No, I'm kidding.
That's so important, Shannon.
Shannon Bostelman, 875 Cherry Lane, Waterville, Ohio, 43566. So I guess my question is, if we know that there's a lot of information to learn, right? We're compromising as far as, you said you want to work together, you want to compromise. I'm all for that, okay? I'm referring to your email earlier. You wanted to work. I think that, there's give and take in everything in life, right? 6 months would give us an ample time to learn for all of you to do your research, to travel, to do whatever you need to do to learn more on it, right? And honestly, is there anything as too much knowledge? I think 6 months is adequate, and I think you're meeting in the middle. You're listening to your residents. You're listening to the other people on council. I think it's better to prepare ourselves for something that may be coming and take it, absorb it, study it, research it, because that's how you make an educated decision. So I think at least 6 months is sufficient for everyone. I mean, it's going to give us time. Everyone's worked hard on this as far as, you know, you've done your research on council. But as you know, there's so much to learn, and it changes daily, on the hour, right? All this information. So if we at least have 6 months, I think that's going to give you due diligence to do your homework. And obviously, Wayne said a committee. I think a committee would be a great idea. Honestly, I don't have a lot of time, but I think I'd sit on that committee to help because there's so much to learn. So much to learn. And it's not like we're going to tell you what to do. We're just going to give you our knowledge because we know that you only have a limited amount of time, right? So I think we can work together as a community, pull out data, pull out information, try and make sure it's factual, present it to council to help them with their decisions. We just want them to make the most knowledgeable decision for our city moving forward. This depends on our quality of life, which is what Waterville stands for. That's what we're all about, right? Our charter says we're worried about our quality of life. Well, this is going to prepare you. This is showing the community and all the residents in the community that you want to make the best, knowledgeable, educated decision for the city. Future generations are counting on you. You all want what's best for Waterville. And I think by listening to your residents, meeting in the middle, compromising, he wanted a year, I think 6 months is sufficient. And guess what? If it's not sufficient enough and we don't feel you have enough information, or I'm sorry, if you don't feel you have enough information to make a knowledgeable, educated decision, you can always extend it.
Right, and we will. So
thank you so
for
much,
coming.
okay?
All right, so
And thanks for your response earlier.
I think it has been moved and seconded, but I'm going to ask our law director to make sure that we properly vote on this.
Yes, I believe with the resolution, we should be able to add the amendment, take a vote on that, move forward with the vote as to the amended resolution at this time.
I feel much better.
And then just to add to it, I'm not going to put it in the motion, but I want to reiterate it, and at our next meeting, I'll have more specifics. I'm going to have 3 or 4 measurables, and we're going to stick to them. We're going to have communication, and council will move forward. Keep in mind, we've got to have 2 new council members. We're going to have to update them and educate them. That'll take some effort, but I'm confident that we will get there. But we need to keep moving forward. All right, it's been moved and seconded, or Resolution 3425, a resolution imposing a moratorium on the insurance or granting of application or permits for data centers and auxiliary facilities in the city of Waterville for a period of 6 months. It's been moved and seconded, I believe.
So, Mayor, do we
yes.
have to vote on the change and then vote on the
Yes.
Okay.
So,
That's what we're doing, we're voting on the change
we're on the,
first.
yep, voting on the change to go from a year to 6 months. All right, that's going to be a
And is that the
voice.
only change?
That's the only change.
Is just the time limit
Time limit,
to 6 months?
6 months.
Okay.
Wayne, you also talked about a smaller data center. I think you used the reference smaller building.
Well, like you said, I mean, you have knowledge of the meta site, and you said these things take years to plan, and we've got nothing coming, so I think, I agree with you. I don't think we have anything coming for 6 months, so.
We don't
I
have the
think-
room.
I think in 6 months' time, we can say, hey, we allow this size data center, or we want these conditions, stronger conditions on a mega data
Right.
center site.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to amend the 3425 from 12 months to 6 months. It's been moved and seconded. A roll call?
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
All right, now we'll move on to Resolution 3425 as amended. A resolution imposing a moratorium on the issuance or granting of applications or permits for data centers and auxiliary facilities in the city of Waterville, Ohio, for a period of 6 months. Need a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Wayne?
Todd.
Todd, second it. All right. Any more discussion? 1 second. Nothing else? All those in favor, roll call?
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Browski?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Oh my God, we're unanimous. It's a miracle.
All right. Thank you.
That was tough.
Okay, you guys can go now. Oh, you mind calling people? We can't help you. Feel bad.
Go ahead. When you go to the microphone, please state your name and address.
Oh, who is this? I don't even know.
Cindy Yarberry,
Could
7883.
you please give the speaker
Dana Ray.
1 second, please?
Waterville.
1 second, please.
Can you do that again? I could not hear you.
I'm Cindy Yarberry, 7883 Dana Ray, Waterville, Ohio. My question is, even though you have this moratorium that you voted on, 6 months is not going to give you enough time because nobody knows the health effects of these centers, and they're not going to know it in 6 months. I hope you consider not having them at all.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, we are going to move into an executive session. This is a consideration of matters per the Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G4, reviewing negotiations with public employees concerning compensation and other terms and conditions of their employment. Need a roll call? A motion to
I
go
make a
into
motion.
executive
So
session?
moved.
Second.
So moved. Wayne? Roll call.
Wait, who made the motion?
Todd.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Sure.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
All right. We are in executive session.
I'm coming Tuesday, so what do I need to
I
do?
don't know where I'm at.
Next Tuesday.
So I need a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
Need a second?
Second.
Second, Todd Browski. Roll call?
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes?
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Alrighty, we're gonna, change up our agenda just a bit, so, bear with me. I'm going to go down to the podium.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
This is not good.
Oh, boy.
This is never good. Nobody's here now. Sure, be brave. I know, I'm coming from.
Where'd everyone go?
That's what I said.
I tried to make that point. Sorry. For Tim. I don't know. She's talking to Joe.
Oh, let's, I'll get married.
Thank you. We wondered what happened to you.
We have some special guests here today. They could all please take their seats.
We had to open some chairs for you.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So this is a special day in the city of Waterville. We're going to recognize some of our outgoing council members. And first, we're going to have some fun, because I know these council members like to have fun. Anthony Bruno, 2 terms on council, one of the youngest council members elected, a professional businessman, worked side by side with his dad until he passed, and now his brother Vincent, who's a partner, and another gentleman as his partner. So bear with me, because technology is not my best, but I think I got it here. We heard from Vince, your brother. And I won't read everything he said. No.
Read it all.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vincent Bruno, younger brother of Anthony Bruno. Tonight is his final Waterville Council meeting. I just wanted to express my pride of all his accomplishments. I know he will continue to be an outstanding role model for me, and I'm looking forward to continuing to grow with him both professionally and as my big brother. Thank you, and all the love. Anthony, he thanks you. So, Anthony and I talked the other day. He enjoys being on council, the committees, and he was one of the council members that led the charge when we had service days in the spring usually, whether it was painting the Bear Park, the recreation center down there, or planting flowers down at Waterworks Park. Anthony was one of the leaders to help us get there. He organized it and brought the troops together. Anthony helped lead the charge, if you will. Anthony, to me, was an honor to have you on City Council. You always were looked at things, other angles that some of us may not have, and being a good, solid council member. So on behalf of the City of Waterville, the council, the staff, and the citizens, we definitely are better off because you were on council. Thank you, Anthony. You come down the mic if you like. We have our traditional Caruth plaque. So there you be.
Well, I had to prepare a little something tonight. So I just wanted to say, as I step away from 2 terms on council, I just wanted to express my appreciation. This role has taught me a lot about leadership, teamwork, and the power of our community. I've had the privilege of working alongside very dedicated people, that's for sure. And these people truly want the best for Waterville. And I'm proud of the progress we've made together over the years. And To all the residents that put their trust in me, thank you. It's been an honor, and I'm very, very grateful for this experience. Thank you.
So, John Rosick, or as sometimes I call him, JR, where did you begin? I guess you begin at the beginning, right? John has been on council for 12 years, 8 years as the Anthony Wayne School Board member, and many other committees that he participated in. John has some of his family members here, but we have one guest that couldn't be with us in person, so allow me to play this for you.
Thank you for the opportunity to say something about our dad, John Rosick. He often says he's a public servant, not a politician, and his continuous service and many roles to our community over the years are proof of that. He has taken on one committee, board, elected office, or volunteer project after another for Waterville, for Anthony Wayne, and for Northwest Ohio ever since moving here. One of the first was in 1985, when I asked my parents if I could sign up for soccer. They needed coaches, and my dad checked out a book from the
Waterville Library. It cut off, but there's more to the story. Jeff and I talked, and he's really thinks a lot about you, and just a couple other things that he wrote to me. As he said, he's not a public servant, he's not a politician, he has many roles, and hopefully people know the rest of his story: soccer board, youth foundation, school board, city council, and more, in addition to a long career of legal services, and more importantly, more than 50 years of marriage to his lovely wife, Deb. She needs a round of applause right now. Equally a giving mom. He quietly sets an example that most of us can only hope to pursue. So thanks to our dad for his service to making this a great city with passion, in an inevitable school district, and in our Northwest Ohio community. So thank you, John. Not to be outdone by their brother Jeff, we have a couple other speakers. Come on up.
Thank you.
We'd just like you to say your name and your address. You can say I'm my granddaughter if you want.
Do you want to go first? You go first. Okay. I'm Melissa. I'm John's youngest daughter. This is my daughter, Hope. We actually are from White House. Oh, God. 6723 Oak Crossing Lane. I want to start by thanking the police department for keeping these children entertained while we were hiding out during all the meeting earlier. So last night, my oldest daughter, Hope, interviewed my dad on for a class project. She had to learn more about the childhood of someone that she looked up to, and she picked him. I'm not really sure why, but because I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised to be reminded from the interview that he had served on student council when he was in school. So even at a young age, serving others and being involved was something that was important to my dad. And now, some number of years later, I can say that the example and desire for him to be a public servant is something that has made a lasting impact on his family. From student council to coaching soccer, serving for the youth soccer league, school levies, the Anthony Wayne School Board, the Anthony Wayne Youth Foundation, nonprofit board, city council, and its various committees, and I'm sure there's things we've missed. Thank you for being an example of what interest and desire is to make a difference. Because of the examples you've set, our kids have chosen to spend their election day off at polls talking to voters. They've learned that if you feel strongly and believe in something, it's important to get involved. You've shown them that the entire process is important, learning about topics, asking questions, and then listening to understand. But what people might not realize is that while you're busy doing all these things, you're also setting lasting examples at your house and at ours. You play guitar with friends that you've known since high school, showing us to always make time for our interests and hobbies and to nurture important relationships. Among many other things that you know about each of them, You know the cereal and sandwich preference of each of your 10 grandkids. They're all different. Showing us that it's important to know the big and little things about people and to make them feel special and that know that you're thinking of them. You never miss the big events. School plays halfway across the country, recitals, competitions, choir and band concerts, countless sporting events, and most importantly, the opportunity to just be present with us. And especially at this time of year, you remind us the value of family. Time together, meals around the table without interruptions, taking the time to say what we're thankful for, and simple traditions that make a lifetime of memories. Most importantly, you and Mom together have shown us what true partnership looks like through it all. I would say that I wonder what you'll do to fill the time now that council prep meetings and committees won't be taking it up, but we all know that you won't sit still. You'll find a way to be involved at home, with your family, and in the community. Thank you for that example.
Grandpa, you're the best grandpa ever. I'm so blessed to have you in my life. I couldn't be more grateful. I always have so much fun with you. You give so much to the community and always give back more to your family. Grandpa, you've been here for me, and I wanted to say thanks so much. Like you said last night when I interviewed you and asked you, what piece of advice do you think every young person should know? You said, never do anything to disappoint your mother and treat others how you want to be treated. And thank you again for being so amazing and the best grandpa.
And so I'm going to invite John or Deb, both of you, come on up here.
It's these meetings that have kept us good.
So, the fun is just beginning. Go ahead. State your name and your address. And
I'm Mrs. John Rosick, otherwise known as Deb, Mima, Grandma, whatever, 725 Village Parkway, Waterville, Ohio. Who are you? The kids have all said it all, and I know one more have a lot to say. Again, John's big thing in town is family, family first, and then his love of community and community service. And he has always managed, even with his career and other things that are going on, he has always made time for both. I don't think any of us, even though we might have missed an event or two, have ever felt left out. And you have not seen the last of John Rosick. Thank you all for helping him along the way.
Wow, I really don't know what to say, believe it or not, but thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you. I did a little speech earlier about what a great city this is, great city council, how much I've enjoyed being on council, and the privilege of serving. And never forget that. It is a distinct privilege to serve on council. I feel sort of, at this point, that I'm deserting my council because, we can't continue. And I would if I could, but for some crazy reason 10 years ago, we decided to put term limits on council and the mayor. So I can't. But I'm sure it'll be in great hands. I wish you all peace and great, great continued success. And thank you all. I love you so much.
Thanks to Jennifer and Melissa and Jeff for participating and their grandkids in this celebration. One thing that John said earlier, and I want to reiterate it, John said this is fun, and no one better can mention that, and you agree on it. John makes it fun. So with that, we will move back to our regular agenda. You folks are welcome to stay, but I'm sure you want to mosey on. Thanks for being here.
Kids have school.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep, see you later. Good seeing you.
Thank you all for making this a place that we wanted to come back and raise our kids to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Hope. I was looking forward to an AI like speech or something. I got you.
Your kids show.
That's hilarious.
My kids be like, yeah, my dad stinks.
Alrighty, thanks for letting us switch things up a little bit. We just had our executive session, and we're back to our regular agenda. Next is ordinance number 1125, an ordinance adopting the annual appropriations for the municipality of the Waterville for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2026, and repealing ordinance number 1225 and declaring an emergency. First reading is scheduled for December 8th, 2025. The second reading and public hearing is scheduled for January 12th. And the third reading and legislative action is scheduled for January 26th. John, would you elaborate, please?
Thank you, Mayor. This is our proposed 2026 appropriations. The Finance Committee reviewed and recommended approval of the budget at their November 21st, 2025 public meeting. And the public hearing on the appropriations is scheduled for January 12th, 2026. Council has any questions on the proposed budget? Pages 3 through 5 are the appropriation notes. Page 6 through 7 are the grand totals. We are expecting to have an ending balance in the general fund of $8,158,278. At the ending balance for all funds, $13,849,346. So as we do every year, we will close the year and we will look at our final expenditures and our final revenues, and more than likely we might revise the proposed 2026 budget to reflect the actual expenditures and actual revenues. So this document reflects the estimated revenues and our existing expenditures as of January 8th, or excuse me, December 8th, 2025.
So no action tonight, just information. All right, next is ordinance number 1225, an ordinance adopting a temporary appropriations for the municipality of Waterville for the months of January and February 2026, and repealing ordinance number 1325 and declaring an emergency. John, would you elaborate, please?
Thank you, Mayor. According to the municipal charter, the permanent appropriations are not required to be adopted until March 1st. The passage of the temporary appropriations allows the city to meet its financial obligations during the months of January and February. So that is necessary. The ordinance adopts the temporary appropriation to cover these months.
All right, so I move that the rules be suspended to allow for the passage of ordinance number 1325 as an emergency measure.
Second.
Second, Todd Borowski. Who moved that? I moved it. You seconded it. All right. Who's on first? All right, roll call.
Yes.
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 Next, I move that the rules be suspended to allow for the passage of ordinance number 1225 as an ordinance adopting temporary appropriations for the municipality of Waterville for the months of January and February 26, and repealing ordinance number 1325 and declaring an emergency. Need a second?
Second.
Todd Borowski. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Next, on ordinance number 1325, an ordinance amending the ordinance 0925, the amended fiscal year 2025 annual appropriations and ordinance declaring emergency. John, you would elaborate on that?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is our last budget amendment of the year. We call this our cleanup legislation, where we adjust all the department line item budgets to conform to approved appropriations and allow any appropriation adjustments as needed. So the significant items here, we are looking at some substantial income tax revenue that we didn't expect. 305,000 additional TIF service payments. So that's additional reflected in it, increases in property taxes, 75,000. Increases for income tax refunds, 45,000. Increases for township property tax sharing payments. So if the city does well, the township does well. So 75,000, or excuse me, 34,400, and then increase for refuse and recycling costs, 30,000. That's essentially 1 month's refuse and recycling. And then we have some expense adjustments to various line items. And again, to cover us through the end of the year, we only have one council meeting in December, so we try to budget accordingly to make it to the end of the year.
All right, I move that the rules be suspended to allow for the passage of ordinance number 1325 as an emergency measure. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Wayne Wagner. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Next, ordinance number 1325, an ordinance amending the ordinance 0925, the amendment of fiscal year 2025 annual appropriation ordinance and declaring emergency. Need a second?
Second again.
I had just one question, Mayor, before you.
Go ahead.
And I guess call me unaware, but we just repealed 1325 in ordinance 1225, and now we're passing 1325.
So you do the last budget amendment, you're repealing you're amending the last budget, the last budget amendment, the third budget amendment is being amended to pass the final one. The temporary appropriations take effect after all of the encumbrances from 2025 are paid. So you repeal 1325, and then when council decides to pass the final budget, we would repeal ordinance 1225, which is the temporary appropriation.
So we pass it after we repeal it, 1325?
Well, 1325 is.
I'm confused. on
Well,
this.
1325 is the final budget amendment of the year, and we are amending the third budget amendment, which was 0925. So.
Are they out of order?
So, and then ordinance 1325 is the last budget amendment of the year. And again, encumbrances that are encumbered and carried over into the next year, we have to pay those. So when all those are paid, technically, we're repealing the last budget amendment, which were the encumbered expenses from 2025. Ordinance 1225 takes effect, which is the temporary appropriations, which covers us from January to February. And then if council, say, for example, passes the final budget on March 1st, that exceeds the January and February. So you would repeal the temporary appropriations to pass the final appropriations.
So yes, they're not taking place all at the same time. They're taking place after those.
This is a future repeal? Is that what this is?
Right.
How can we repeal it when we haven't approved it?
All right.
That's where John's going.
Yeah.
I had a couple.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
The TIF service payment revenue, 75,000, is that I'm looking at your notes, John, you mentioned here, but is that the Farnsworth, that whole situation out there with,
Right.
With Tom?
Yeah, it's the Prairie Boulevard,
Right.
so.
So there was additional,
Right.
TIF tax revenue
there
that
was,
came in?
There was more TIF payments than we expected, so we have to pay out more and.
But it basically comes in and goes out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then, unfortunately, we don't have a room full of people here anymore, but the Waterville Township property tax sharing payments went up $34,400 for 2025.
Right.
So, that took us from 98,000 to 132,400 for 2025.
In 1 year.
So it went up that much, but we paid them $132,400.
Correct.
All right. If you go back and look at 23, 24, and 25, they've been paying $323,339. What did they do for that?
We are cooperating with the township, we're working with them, and we're sharing revenue from areas we annexed. And as long as the annexation agreement is in place, we keep sharing the wealth. And essentially, if you annex a piece of property that isn't improved, you know, there's value, but once you add improvements, water, sewer, all that, police, fire, protection, the value goes up. And so as long as that agreement is in place, the county auditor is the third-party arbiter of that, and they determine the value and the increase. And every year, they send us a spreadsheet, and it says, this is what you owe the township, and we pay them at the end of the second half settlement of the property tax. So if you look at, I looked at 9 years, we paid them around $689,000 over 9 years.
Wow.
So.
And this is the annexation agreement, which there's all kinds of chatter out there that they want to do away with it.
And you know, it's to their benefit, and that's why we did this. So we share the wealth, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, and we provide all the services.
Correct.
Since
Okay.
we're talking about it, is it, you know what the percentage is off the top of your head?
It's
like
50%.
Is it 50-50 split with them, or?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah, 50-50.
Yep.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a lot of money.
Yep.
It's, I guess the flip side is we got that money as well, right?
Right.
We have to provide
But if-
services.
Yeah, we
Right.
provide
Minus the
services,
services.
yeah.
We
To where if
provide
we
all
ever formed a JED, we would probably take like 1.1% of the income tax or 1.2% or whatever for doing
Well,
services.
Well, I mean,
I guess we'd have to weigh that out and see what makes more sense.
we would have to look at that, I guess, but it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's providing the same benefit, and it's 50-50. So you gotta say we're working with the township on this one.
So I did have a couple conversations with Julie Thrall, and I know she volunteered to me that she is having their legal counsel look at agreements that they have with Waterville, the city of Waterville, and they have apparently some with White House. As recent as last week, I asked her if there's any updates, and she didn't have it. So we are keeping the dialogue going, and I didn't realize it was almost $700,000 that's being generated, and they're not doing anything for that, but receiving it.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we got a motion on the table for 1325, but then moved and seconded. I move for the final passage of ordinance number 1325, first and final reading as an emergency measure. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yep. Yes.
Yep.
And next is Resolution 3525, a resolution adopting a cybersecurity program for the city of Waterville. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution authorizes the adoption of a cybersecurity program for the city of Waterville, and it's in compliance with Ohio Revised Code Section 9.64, which was recently enacted through the passage of Ohio House Bill 96. And you know, you've read about this, I'm sure, in the news. You know, a government is, they pay out payments, or their computer systems are locked, or things like that. So the state has taken it upon themselves to request that we, every community, municipality, county, and township has to pass a cybersecurity policy. The state of Ohio has provided a guide for that, and that's in the resolution. it's essentially a statement of intent, and that the city is going to align its cybersecurity policies with the best practices that are mentioned in the state auditor's bulletin. So I guess those would include the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the Cybersecurity Framework and Center for Internet Security. Essentially, we'll work with our IT consultant to develop a policy, a final policy, to meet their guidelines that they're specifying.
Alrighty, so I need a motion to accept resolution 3525.
So moved.
All right, Duncan, need a second?
Second.
Second, Todd Borowski. Any more discussion?
Is there a budget for this, John, or a cost, or do we know yet?
No.
We don't know, or there is not?
We don't know what the cost is.
Okay.
So,
Unfunded mandate.
Exactly, basically.
They're very famous for it.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to do the fraud training. Everyone had to watch an 8-minute video that state said we had to watch. So it's just kind of that kind of thing. But I guess it is important. So.
Yeah.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for resolution 3525. Jenny?
We can just say.
Voice vote.
in favor.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next is resolution 3625, a resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Associations, Sergeants Unit, and authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a proposed collective bargaining agreement. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a renewal of a collecting and bargaining agreement between the city and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, the Sergeants Unit, and it's a 3-year contract. So the present contract expires December 31st, 2025, and this is a 36-month contract. It has some changes in regards to wages, and again, we want to try to stay competitive with communities in the area our own size, and that's what these agreements reflect.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one of our outgoing council members, both of them, to make a motion to accept resolution 3625. I'll go with John Rosick first.
I'll move to approve.
Anthony?
And, go ahead.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, just accolades to the administration for getting this done so efficiently before the end of the year. Thank you.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for resolution 3625. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is resolution 3725, a resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association Patrol Unit and authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into the proposed collective bargaining agreement. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a identical agreement with our patrol unit, and it is between the city and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association with the patrol unit. Again, the same, very similar contract, 36-month extension, wage increases to keep our patrol unit competitive with communities our own size, and very similar to the sergeant's contract.
Okay, I need a motion to accept resolution 3725.
So moved.
So moved, Anthony Bruno.
Second.
Second, John Rosick. Any more discussion?
Another compliment to the administration. Same compliment.
You only get one a night.
One a day.
One a day. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Next, we're going to go into executive session for matters per the Ohio Revised Code, section 121.22G1, to consider the appointment and employment of compensation for a public employee. I need a roll call.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Yeah, you got to move and second it. All right, roll call. Roll call.
Yes.
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 We won't be in very long.
Yes.
We don't expect to do any
Yes.
announcement afterwards.